Right.
Hello and welcome to the Saladcast on Sunday the 29th of May 2016. I'm your host Dan Train. Joining me today, Zachary Burgess.
That time.
And Robert Kemp.
We're only 1 week late.
Yes, only.
We've been this late before, haven't we?
We've been later before. Yeah.
Usually you guys get a Tardcast in there or something.
Well, I failed to manage to make a video, even though I tried.
Oh, did you try?
Well, it's like I set up a recording, and I did a recording, and it was great. Those new OBS settings that we use nowadays are fucking awesome.
They're great, aren't they? Yeah.
What's so great about them?
They just record like full resolution in 60, and it doesn't compress it at all, so it looks good.
Yeah.
And it doesn't fuck with your frame rate or whatever.
Yeah. OBS is like really slim, so it doesn't.
Well, it depends what we're doing. It basically involves, the new settings involve using the NVIDIA encoder. So it's actually running encoding off the GPU to some degree.
Yeah.
Right.
So in theory, we could have performance issues if we start videoing more intensive games. But for now, it seems to be working just fine.
Nice.
And, if we're videoing intensive games, we have other solutions for that. So.
Yes. So I got that all working, and I made the recording, and I recorded the voice, and because I was by myself and recording off my direct mic, I could actually just go through the track and edit it, so I could get rid of any coughing and stuff. It was like, man, I can make this even better than usual.
In theory, yeah. If you put the time in, I'm sure I could, but I don't put the time in.
Well, it's more difficult when there's two people talking because it's like it interferes and overlaps more often. Yeah. But so I went through and did that, but then fucking video editing is still fucking impossible.
So what were you trying to use? Did you try my my hit film suggestion, whatever it's called now?
The problem was that, well, basically, I think I maybe need to find some better codecs or more codecs or something, because basically the ancient ass version of Premiere I have on my system can't load MP4s.
Oh wow! Okay.
Which is very unhelpful.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was out the window. And then I tried the hit film, and that could load the video, but after I also probably need to get whatever settings Rob uses for Handbrake, because even after I handbraked it, hit film couldn't load the file fast enough to actually play it back.
Oh, weird.
Even though it claims it has RAM buffering, it didn't seem to be using any more RAM. Like the RAM usage on my monitor wasn't going up any further. And I was like, well, this is no good, because it's playing back at less than 3 frames a second or something, because it's 1 second of video is taking a lot longer than a second, so it's not actually playing it back in real time or anything close, which makes it impossible to edit. So I was like, well, shit, I guess I'm screwed.
Yeah, that's odd. Oh, I know for a fact, I know some guys who work on, I know people from Hit Film, and they've been pretty good, from what I see on their presence for support, so maybe we should hit them up. But
it just seems like it must have been the bit rate was too high, but I don't know how far I should have turned it down.
My handbrake settings are basically leave it on wherever the hell it suggests, pretty much. I don't really do anything to it. I just
So what
let
does that
handbrake
handbrake tool do? What does that one do?
Handbrake is a re-encoder effectively, but it's good at handling. I use it because when we re-record video, sometimes the output might not be constant frame rate.
Yeah.
Or and video editing software is very bad at dealing with not constant frame rate video.
Right.
So does
it record a frame per actual frame that's actually rendered in a game?
Pretty much, yeah.
And then when the frame rate dips, that it goes variable.
It's not inserting frames of what it just has in buffer. It just doesn't insert a frame into the stream.
Oh, okay.
And marks something up in the metadata or whatever is happening in the background to say, actually, this frame lasts this long, and the next frame's timing, is
I see,
some variable distance away.
But the software can't bloody understand that. Video editing software.
Video editing software doesn't deal with that. No, as far as I can tell, no video editing software deals with that well. If at all. If I try and use Premiere, for instance, it just reckons, this video is 1,000 frames per second. And it's no. No. And you end up with sync problems between the audio, and it just becomes a nightmare. So running it through Handbrake first, Handbrake will force it into constant frame rate mode, which that's the one setting I do tend to change, is like force what frame rate I want out of it.
Yeah, I made sure that was on. I remembered that much.
And
So you do this before loading it into your video editing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's like an encoding pass before I even get into doing the video editing.
Yeah.
So you have to re-encode all your raw footage before you can even start editing it.
Pretty much. I mean, sometimes that's useful anyway, because if we have an uncompressed output, those are massive.
And
right.
That can be,
like several
that can be one
gigs.
of the reasons it doesn't load very well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then it's easier to work with if it's smaller.
Yeah. I mean, you can load the several hundred gig files into video editing, and sometimes that works out quite nicely because it doesn't have to. It can jump about based on constant bit rate of the uncompressed file.
Yeah.
So it's seeking and playback actually becomes easy.
Yeah.
It just takes a lot out of your hard drive, because your hard drive is having to read a lot of data very fast.
I guess that's how they do it for like professional editing, right? They must have to have like ridiculous hardware with loads of massive SSDs or something, so that they use a combination. Like, so what? I guess you would know, Rob. Sorry, you actually know this.
They did use traditionally they did use a combination, because they run an encoding pass to downgrade the original footage to a proxy file. But that proxy file might have, it might be keyframes every frame, for instance, but it's still an encoded file.
Yeah.
But it's a lot less quality than what you would see. Because most of the time when you're editing something, right, all you're actually doing is choosing which camera angles you want, right? Yeah, for film editing and things like that, you've already got the footage, so you actually just want to organize your shots, so to speak.
Yeah, if you're slice and dice, I guess.
And you can still do audio video sync that way, and you can still do. It's only when you want to get into the nitty gritty of like, does this effect render properly, that you might need the high detail footage to actually work against.
Right. Yeah.
Which is why, like, I guess when you're doing like films and proper shows or something, you'll actually deal with only the clip of that particular sequence. Right, so you won't necessarily care about audio at that point. You'll just deal with the visual, and you'll do that clip on its own, that 2 second slice or something, to get the effects just so, and then you load that 2 second slice into your main editing suite as a proxy. Blah 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 blah. Basically, it's a bit of a mess, like really, and it's all just an effort to try and make computers able to actually deal with it.
And the other slight problem that I discovered with HitFilm, which may not really be a problem, but might be slightly annoying for us and our archival aspect, is that
our archival
aspect is that the free version of HitFilm only allows you to directly upload to YouTube. You can't export.
Oh, well, that's something I didn't know. Okay, that's kind of critical.
So it's like, theoretically that would still be okay for us. You just have to keep the project file.
Well, maybe
instead of the exported video.
It depends if the export, because YouTube lets you download what you imported now.
Yeah, but has it been through the YouTube process at that point?
That's a very good question. Yeah, I don't know. Like, they look like they're labeled. I've never tried it, but they look like they're labeled with the file name that you uploaded. So I don't know. That's real interesting.
This is real interesting.
Well, yeah, to everyone else, probably not. But that's...
So I couldn't upload a video.
Oh,
so
what did you make a video of, Zeg?
Rocket League.
Oh, naturally.
Obviously.
Okay.
It wasn't that great a video. I mean, I didn't even play that great, I don't think. There were some bits that were okay.
There was a stupid one on Reddit today where he was sitting in the middle of the field and he was recording. He obviously had a camcorder or his phone or what? His phone, probably. I don't know. Camcorders? Anyway.
That would be weird.
He was filming his monitor and then he was like looking at the ball and then he panned down to his little Texas Instruments calculator and then he calculated a trajectory like with a graphical calculator and then looked up and did it and it went in. It was really stupid little comedy sketch, I guess, but it was quite funny. It was like, let's work this out.
If I hit the ball with this velocity, it's like at this
pretty,
angle, assuming that my hitbox has this precise
exactly
look to it.
You'd have to modify to Rocket League physics, not like the actual physics of the world. Quite different.
Yeah, you could have written an app on his calculator to do that, I guess.
wouldn't necessarily need to be an app. You just have to like work out what like air resistance and gravity is in the Rocket League world.
I suppose, yeah.
Oh man, I bet there's some hilarious, cheat hacksaw things for Rocket League. There must be, right? Because I've seen ones that paint for TF2 that paint the rocket trajectory onto the screen and stuff.
That's just a straight line.
I can't remember, but it was arcs of. No, it wasn't the rocket trajectory. It was the arcs of people's jumps, so that you could hit them in midair or whatever, stuff like that.
Oh wow!
So you could predict.
That's not even a complicated arc either. That's just like a straight parameter, isn't it? Because there's no air resistance.
No, but I suppose the difference in games like TF2 is those arcs can change based on player input, right?
Sure.
So they're only a prediction of their current movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in Rocket League, that must be way more effective, right? Because the ball isn't affected until someone hits it.
Mm.
Yeah, but surely these things are like would be third party hacks anyway. So you'd hope the game or like VAC or
definitely,
would kick in and spot.
No, I'm just saying
you've got some hack code running.
It's also still completely irrelevant because it's not like it's hard to predict where the ball's going to go in Rocket League.
I guess not, but
yeah,
still, it would be.
I mean,
helpful.
What you'd actually want it to predict, to be able to predict, would be to tell you where to go to get to the ball from where you currently are and your current speed.
Oh,
you don't need to see where the ball's going to go. You need to see how you get there.
You want it to show the intercept point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I guess it could do. Yeah, that would be interesting. There should be a training mode, actually. They should just put that into the game as a training mode, but then I guess the hack would simply be turn on the training mode for real games.
Yeah.
I wonder what hacks you would get for real football, like if you had some kind of visor that could project things into your vision. You know, what's it called? Like not a heads-up display, but what are they called? Like in the new fighter jets where it's projected onto your helmet or whatever.
Google
Glass.
Glass.
You can still see through it. Yeah, Google Glass. What if you had Google Glass and you were a footballer? What would you want it to show you that would allow you to cheat?
That's a good question.
I think all you'd want as like a real person playing a sport would be like it'd be like a heads up display for like a racing game or whatever. You just need arrows along the edge of your vision to show you where people are that you can't actually see. Because that'd be really useful.
I see.
Indicators.
Well, they're coming up behind you or something. Yeah.
Or like the ball is behind me, but I can see it with my teammate, so I need to start running ahead, but I don't need to look round to see whether he's seen me or whatever.
Could you have like a wind indicator on screen so you could see like...
I don't think wind is that relevant.
Maybe. I wonder if it's easier playing a game in like a park against someone where you can hear them coming up behind you compared to a stadium full of people shouting at you, like
probably
for situational awareness.
Especially if you're some distance away, the thing could probably work out the least likely angle to be blocked if you're doing a long shot. I guess it could figure out where the other players are and how quickly the goalie could reach this part of the goal based on his current position and momentum.
That doesn't really help you that much because it's still really difficult to hit that.
You'd still actually have to land the shot, but
yeah.
And like that information in that split second, I don't think would actually help you be able to adjust yourself to do anything about it. Like at that, because it's having to update essentially in real time.
Yeah.
And so at the point where you're like winding up to kick the ball, you can't be like, oh, I need to slightly angle it the other way.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not very much.
Do you think you just have to commit to things ahead of time and just hope, even if you're talking 2 seconds or 1 second?
Sure.
I guess that's the way it works, right?
I mean, I guess the goalie wouldn't react like until you've kicked the ball anyway, right? Yeah. So it'd still probably be quite effective.
Well, maybe they would. I mean, not react to your shot, but preempt your shot, right?
Because they'd be wearing a visor also. Yeah.
But I'm just saying that, like in a penalty, it's too quick, isn't it? So they can't actually react to the shot very well. So they have to just sort of guess.
They basically make a guess based on your wind up.
Yeah.
Or you put, like, I guess goalies must do like their research on the players, right? Yeah. Like what are the stats behind their?
Yeah, because that's the only way.
How do they normally take a penalty?
Because I don't think you can actually react fast enough to actually, especially how far you have to move to actually reach it in a corner. Well, I know the corners are impossible, but the goal's quite big.
You pretty can't reach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Would a The problem is, like, it probably wouldn't help you in golf, right? Because, like, golf, you've got all the information you need, right?
Yeah, I mean,
yards. I'm this many yards from the hole. I probably need this club, right? That's what you've already got caddies for that.
That's true. I mean, the only thing that could happen is after you've played your shot, there could be a gust of wind or something. You can't help that, can you?
But you can't like do the Tiger Woods thing of apply spin to the ball in the air, and then.
Oh, that would be amazing. They should change the sport to have some kind of insanely high-tech balls that you can, like, that you'd have to play
so
your
it
shot
weights
and then
itself on landing somehow.
Yeah. No. Anyway,
that'd be great.
Man, that game was pretty good at the time. 2003, like 13 years. Shit, how long?
Man, it might have been earlier than that. It might have been 2001, 2002.
I think the ones that I played were 3 and 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I had 3 on the Xbox
the
or something. Yeah, that's pretty good. And now they're terrible, right? What happened? Like,
well, because I don't think that. I'm not entirely sure that they're terrible, but they seem to. It just looks like they're the same game still, right? And maybe that's like considered terrible by modern standards. I don't know.
But what the standards? But the standards of the golf games, right? I don't know.
Although apparently, like, if you want to play golf, like, isn't it the golf club? You're supposed to where you go now.
Really? Is that what it's called?
Or sort of realistic golf.
I remember Links, like freaking.
Yeah.
Those games looks amazing. They took you could watch them painting the 3D scene for like 5 seconds before you got to take your shot.
Oh yeah, it's because they weren't really 3D, were they?
Of course.
They were all sort of. Like,
but they were
weirdly 2D calculated, weren't they, to try and figure that stuff out, like Microsoft Golf.
Yeah, Microsoft Golf, and Lynx LS, I think, was pretty much the same thing, except it was like sponsored by Arnold Palmer or something.
Yeah, I was about to say, was that the game that was Arnold Palmer?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I had the box. It was like a double width box, because the boxes were already huge for PC games at the time, and this was like a double width one for some reason. I can't remember why.
Did it have Arnold Palmer in the box?
It was super plush. It did have, because they all had crazy manuals, but it definitely had like a whole, hi, I'm Arnold Palmer and welcome to the game, and here's a photo of me and shit like that.
I do remember that. Yeah, it had like a spoken-ish tutorial, didn't it?
Yeah.
How to golf.
Yeah.
It basically like had a mini encarter inside it. It had like dumb, shitty, terrible
it did,
videos.
Yeah, it did. It had videos of him teaching you to play. Not even the game. I think it was just like how to play golf.
How to play actual golf.
Yeah.
Not really that translatable to this ancient game.
No. Probably not translatable to the newest games either.
That's actually kind of cool.
I wonder what VR golf, that could work, right? Although you might smash your helmet.
Oh yeah, they've already made like 2 or 3 mini golfs. So actual golf.
Well, we got 100-foot robot golf.
Yeah, that's not VR.
I don't know.
VR. It has a VR mode. It's not a VR game.
It's VR compatible.
It'd be quite hard to do a golf swing with the thing on your head, though, wouldn't it? I don't know. Maybe it'd be okay.
Maybe as fine as using a Wiimote, I guess.
Well, the cables are meant to go down your back, so in theory they shouldn't actually get in the way of a golf swing.
Yeah.
Golf should be. Yeah, that should work real well.
The challenge would be
like
punching all your lampshades. Because
that's true.
You might reach high enough up to accidentally hit your ceiling lights.
But that would be a good game, because you don't have to move, right? You just teleport to where your shot was, right? Yeah. And then so that'd be quite good for VR.
Yeah, motion sickness wise, it would be absolutely fine. At Vive, you could even step back and do a practice shot, right?
Yeah. But as we know from the Wii golf games, you can't actually do a golf swing like you expect when you're holding a thing that doesn't weigh anything.
No.
Yeah,
the weight of the club is what actually makes it possible to do a golf swing.
But like there is still skill, I guess, in getting the amount. Actually, there might even be more skill without the weight in trying to get the power right. Because it's harder to feel, I guess.
But I mean, you could, not at home, but you could say you are at a driving range or whatever. You could have you could attach those HTC Vive hand controls to an actual club, and if you had enough space and you weren't going to thwack someone in the head, you could, you could simulate a whole game in like a driving range box.
They've done that for ages. They have already had like AR driving ranges where you put on glasses, and then instead of you hitting an actual ball, it just projects what you did as a hit into a virtual.
I actually didn't know that existed.
I didn't know
That's
that.
Cool. I knew they had ones where, like, it was like some sort of sensor in the T, and it just put it on a screen in front of you.
Yeah, the screen is like the old version of that. It's just the updated version. Put it onto AR goggles instead.
That's awesome.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
I wonder how well it would detect my horrible fade.
Well, that is the question. It's like, if it can detect an actual golf swing, how well can it detect a terrible person's golf swing?
Well, yeah, this is actually the best thing about it, right? It's like I would probably be the best test at this. When I go on this thing, and if I whack it with my weird wood iron hybrid 4 thing,
and it goes it goes directly 90 degrees to the side, then we'll know it's working.
Yeah, then it's perfectly accurate.
It'd be funny if it could detect the complete mishits that we have occasionally as well, like the classic driving range mishits where it goes straight up and hits the ceiling.
How do you even do that?
I don't. I'm assuming you top it so badly.
I think you go right under it, right? Well, either or.
You can't really go under it with like a.
Well, you can on some of those high tees. If you put it too high up, you can go right under it.
Maybe.
But you're thinking you top it so badly it bounces off the floor straight into the ceiling.
It goes all the way up. Yeah.
Right. Sounds dangerous.
Yeah. Driving kind of is.
I guess so.
AR curling. There you go. That's the most cheaty sport, or snooker, or pool, right? That must be the most cheaty solution to having like a headset, like because it could just figure out based on your cue position. Like, all right, the balls are going to go like here. It's like playing like virtual pool or whatever with all the guides turned on.
The thing is, I reckon like seeing where things are going to go is probably the easy part. The hard, if you practice it, the hard part is actually hitting it right.
So it does that. Yeah.
So it does that. Yeah. Right. Like I imagine
but surely like a bounce guide for like snooker or something is still ridiculously helpful.
Yeah, I guess so.
And even then, it might not be accurate. I guess, and there are minor environmental variations that could affect it. But yeah, I guess snooker and pool, like they try and make them the smoothest possible playing fields ever.
Smooth playing fields.
AR sports.
Cool.
The future is near.
Right, we got some more random to cover this week because I think we should move on to it. Yeah, it's been 3 weeks. What's been going on in those 3 weeks? Maybe one of us has been abroad. I'm not sure.
I haven't.
I haven't either.
I cleaned my room. That was what I did.
Wow.
I did a hardcore clean. It was like I'd spent fucking 4 hours or something just cleaning my room.
Wow.
And then felt incredibly tired afterwards.
What did you find?
Not anything. Well, I did clean out at least one of my drawers because I was like, I need a bit more space in this drawer. Let's see what the fuck is actually in here. And there's stuff in there that, like, theoretically I should have just thrown it away, but I was like, I have to keep this. Like, I found 2 floppy disks. And I was like, I have no idea what's on these, but I have to keep them.
So do you reckon they still work?
That's the question. And there was like a bunch of random driver CDs, and I was like, well, I'll keep those as well.
Depends what they're for.
Theoretically
most
useful in the distant future when people need to make H technology work.
Why would you keep them? Surely you could...
They'll be online, right?
Not necessarily. They might be old enough that they aren't.
Just rip the disk to a hard drive and upload it somewhere.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Are the drivers for the Sidewinder wheel, are they online?
You don't
still
need
got the disc, but yeah, you don't need them.
You don't need them.
No, since Windows 7, Windows basically just identifies the wheel.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't get all the cool little graphics and like the customizable options that you used to, but it just just sort of works. Okay. Except for the fact that I still have a theory that it doesn't work very well in Windows 10, at least not on my computer. But
seems like it. But I still have the driver CD for that. It's in the back of the manual.
That probably won't work at all, though.
No, probably not. There was 3 cassettes that I probably, if we need to extract whatever's on those.
Cassettes? Oh, God.
I bet there's some fucking hilarious shit on there.
That's going to be us talking for 11-year-old.
It's going to be really terrible.
11-year-old us talking over Command & Conquer songs.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's probably what's on
We recorded those into a computer, though, didn't we? I'm pretty sure the Command & Conquer things were WAV files that recorded.
That was like version 2 of the Command & Conquer things. The original was definitely a cassette. We played it in my dad's car.
Oh, yeah. It's a aeroplane type thing. Yeah.
Exactly. So,
No. I don't think that's the
RAM.
way around. I think we started with those recordings on the computer, and with those microphones that were those like beige like sticks. Do you remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that everyone had.
The beige sticks that came with every computer for some reason. And, like before microphones were really a necessity in any way.
Quote unquote multimedia. That was one of the mediums, I guess, or the media. Media? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and so we had, I think, a recording for most of the unit types in Command and Conquer. Is that right?
I don't know about most.
Or some of the unit types. But then I think
down, boom.
Yeah,
taping the music from Command and Conquer and then singing over it. I think that was a later thing. Is that what we did?
That was a later thing.
Or introducing it?
It seemed like it was probably exactly the same time.
I think we tried to do like a radio show, didn't we, with Command and Conquer music?
I don't know if we tried to do anything like that. There was also, I'm pretty sure the Command and Conquer music tape was only Dan.
Yeah, I think that
might
was just
be
me.
true, actually. Yeah.
Don't think we were involved in any way.
I'm not sure we ever recorded What Do We Want McDonald's.
No, we came up with What Do We Want McDonald's, but I don't think
That's what we want.
that was on.
I don't know. I feel like that might be on that cassette. The Dan version thereof.
The Dan rendition. Man, can you imagine how annoying that would be if your kids were like in the back of the car? What was the reason that your mum didn't want to take us to McDonald's? I mean, that's not exactly.
Money?
Why do you think?
It was
'Cause
your
we were
birthday.
children.
Well,
Wasn't
we
it?
were kids and my parents were quite reasonably poor at the
Yeah.
time, I think.
And also,
Yeah, I guess
it's
so.
not good for you.
And we'd
That's
just been
true.
bowling. I
We've
guess.
just been bowling. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. That makes sense. Yeah, that must be annoying if you've got kids in the back of the car singing at you.
You just got that sentence there, really.
Yeah,
It must be quite annoying if you've got kids in the back of the car,
Yeah.
whatever they're doing.
I guess so.
We did want McDonald's, though.
Yeah.
We did. We made up for it in later years by like.
By having a Burger King every Friday, at least.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
We'd
I'm
go
into
to
that.
McDonald's when it was the stupid Monopoly thing. Like I remember one time with the Monopoly thing, you had pretty good odds of just getting another Big Mac. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Screw the whole game.
Oh, no,
Like, they
it
don't
wasn't
do that
it was
anymore.
before the Monopoly thing. They had
Oh,
like
was
the
it?
Big Mac giveaway or something.
Maybe
And it
that was
basically was you could just buy a Big Mac, which would have one of these tickets on it.
You
which
could
would
just
give
chain it.
Which you could win a Big Mac, so then
Yeah.
you could go up and get another one. And they wouldn't give you a special box without the token on it. No, the Big Mac you won would have a token on it. And then you just read that and be like, oh, I've got another Big Mac. And then you do the next one and be like, oh, I've got some fries to go with these 4 Big Macs.
That was so good.
It did get there was one night, wasn't there, where it just kept
it
going.
just got ridiculous.
And it got to the point where it's just like, do you want this Big Mac? No.
It's like gambling with a set limit of how much you can actually eat. It's quite handy. There wasn't any gambling though; it was just winning.
No, it was just free food. After we'd bought some food. So sort of free food.
Tell you what the longest part of my room cleaning actually was. Which
Found
wasn't
some
actually even
burgers.
part of this 4 hour. It was like, I started at about 4:30, and by the time I looked at the clock again, it was like 7, and I was like, well, shit. I should probably eat something. But then the thing that actually took the longest, of course, was cleaning my keyboard, take it all apart,
Oh,
clean
really?
it all off,
You
put it
went
all back
hardcore.
together.
Oh,
And it looks so awesome.
I should do that.
Well, you can't really do it as easily with
I
your flat
don't
keyboards.
know. I don't know if I can pop my keys on my flat keyboard. But my work keyboard is a classic style, and that's pretty skank.
The best
Just
thing
get to the point where you can get like Gnome's got some sewing pins and stuff about this, and you just sort of scrape them over the keyboard, and this brown stuff comes off.
Oh, yes.
It's just like, whoa.
The advantage with the keyboard that I have is because it's got underlights, like the keys light up.
Yeah.
Oh, do you? I didn't realize you had that.
That means the keys are like, you know, the symbols on the keys are not painted on. They're actually part of the key, so you can't rub them off ever.
That's good.
So you can clean them as vigorously as you like. So you can clean it properly and put it back together, and it looks almost new.
Fabulous. They just need to make keyboards out of a material that just doesn't pick up hand skank.
I don't think that's possible.
Can it just pool in the bottom somewhere, and then you just take it like a either a drip tray or a chrome tray, and just take that out every now and then? Keyboard drip trays.
Don't think that's possible. That's what I did.
Nanomaterials.
Good work.
Yeah, well, yes, sure. I guess.
Sweat-phobic nanomaterials.
Trouble is that probably would make it really difficult to use the keyboard as well.
What, you just
Because
press
you feel really weird.
Fingers would just
There'd
go
be
away.
almost no friction.
That'd be amazing. Kind of want one now. Speaking of things I want, I quite like a fight stick now.
What? Why?
I don't know, because I was in Japan
Not a particularly great segue, but okay.
and I played some arcade games while I was there.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And including, weirdly, because I stumbled upon it, we found an arcade machine of Skullgirls,
Sure.
which I sort of didn't really realise actually existed as an arcade machine. And
It
played,
probably doesn't. It's probably just like a main cabinet only from PC.
yeah, maybe. It did have like a lot of other games on it as well. Like you could switch it to play like Blaze Blue and things, and but it accepted credits and it seemed to work fine that way. Anyway, I played it with a fight stick for the first time, and it's just like, man, this is so much better than playing a fight game with a controller. I don't know why. Like they're onto something here. These Evo Pros.
They're onto something 10 to 15 years
I
ago.
know. It felt good.
But what would
Now
you
I
get?
kinda want one.
Can you get a fight stick that works for your PC and your Xbox or something?
I'd probably get one. Yeah, I'd probably get one PC orientated, I guess, because there are ones that sort of claim to be PS3, PS4, and PC compatible and stuff like that. But generally, it sounds like from the internet, your best bet at the moment is getting one that is Xbox 360 happy, and then it will just work on PC.
Nice. Okay.
Because of X input. Apparently, like the fight sticks you like get for Xbox One and stuff actually aren't PC happy right now, or that games haven't implemented whatever the new controller spec is for fight sticks on PC. Yeah. So I think like, say you got the Xbox One Killer Instinct controller, which exists, and you tried to play Street Fighter V on PC with it, you're out of luck. Which then leads on to the next thing. Those things are expensive.
I know. Yeah.
It's like nearly £200, I think, if you want one new.
Jeez. Whew, that better last.
I think they do, yeah.
Do you not need to get like replacement like parts and stuff?
Well, they're made by the same... I guess you probably do, but they're made by the same stuff that's actually used in arcade cabinets. So, those things, they're designed for super wear. And I think there's like one company from Japan or something that makes all of this stuff, like Sanwo or something like that. So everyone, when I've been reading forum threads and stuff about it, it's all like, yeah, it's got the Sanwo stuff. I could be totally wrong, like with what that name is. It's San something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this one company that makes all the sticks and makes the buttons and stuff. They seem to be super revered in this realm. So get a stick that has that stuff.
Or don't.
Or, just don't get a stick. But it's quite tempting at the moment.
You don't play fighting games enough to flat.
No, but you might be right. But like I've always thought that I couldn't play fighting games because I lack the dexterity on a controller to do it. And I wonder if a stick would solve that to some degree.
It would probably make it easier, but I don't think it would necessarily solve the whole problem.
No, probably not. Still, it felt good. Also, arcades in Japan, kind of weird. There's any really way to describe them. So, the first 2 floors of every arcade, and I mean floors, literally. These things are in like mini towers.
Yep.
So the first 2 floors always seem to be like crane games or capsule machines.
Right. Yeah.
So you have to get through 2 floors of that crap first, and then you get to. Basically, pretty much every arcade we walked into had an entire floor dedicated to this Sega-made Gundam game. An entire floor of it. And those like Japanese 3D fighter games that seem to be like all the rage, like that J-Stars fighting game or the Dragon Ball games, or where you're sort of like from behind your character and you lock on to someone else and you do this sort of weird to and fro 3D combat thing.
Right, yeah.
I guess the new Naruto games are that as well.
And Pokken, I guess, is sort of similar in theory.
Yeah, not so much, but a little bit. There's a little bit of that, I guess, in the field phase, anyway, of Pokken. But yeah, it's basically that. Except there's an entire floor dedicated to it, and they seem to have got this sort of right this time. So it was Gundam based. It was called it was called, the name I don't know because it was all written in Japanese, but it was like something extreme something on, which made me think, have Sega made a Virtual On game? And
what you mean recently?
Yeah.
Rather than ancient. I think they have tried to make Virtual On a thing sometimes. Occasionally.
I don't think it controls the same, because I think Virtual On had like joysticks, like dual joysticks that you used, whereas this is like an arcade board. It's like a single joystick and some buttons. But I played a few rounds of that. That was quite fun. So the only reason I sort of bring that up was like, because it's actually, and the fact that they had a whole floor dedicated to it is relevant, because the entire floor was networked. So you could hop onto a cabinet and it would basically join you into a 4-player game with people elsewhere in the room, and you go at it that way, and it's like, that's kind of cool, like a big old competitive room of players on it's like basically a LAN party but on arcade machines.
Okay, cool.
It was kind of awesome,
and all automatic, like you didn't have to, or you just say, I want to be in this, and
yeah, it just sort of sorted itself out.
It's not that amazing. Linked arcade machines have been around for a long time.
Sure, but it's like I hadn't really come across it on that scale. It's like there was
sure, but it's not like the game was then like a 32-player match or something.
No, I mean that would have been more amazing, but it did sort of just sort itself out. There's even a little spectator booth they had set up where you could it would just be watching a match in the room, and you could have camera controls on this thing to just see what's going on and stuff like that. It was kind of cool. Not sure the game is really all that good, but it's one of those 3D fighting experiences which I don't really understand why they're such a big deal in Japan. But it seemed okay. It was an interesting thing to find. Also, all arcades are like one of the few places you're allowed to smoke in Japan. Like they have quite a strict, you're not actually even allowed to really smoke on the street kind of policy.
Wow.
In Japan. Like it's part of keeping it clean, I guess, and not exposing people to it. It's like there are designated smoking rooms about the place. Like, most hotels would have one, some restaurants would have one if you're lucky. At least in Tokyo. I don't know if that was true elsewhere, but in Tokyo at least, like smoking on the street seemed like a no-no. But yeah, arcades, smokers. Pachinko halls, we didn't actually go in one.
No.
Because my God, that place seems like just hell on earth.
Yeah.
It's like
sounds and ching.
Yeah, it's like the door. In fairness, all of them would have like very soundproof doors at the front of them. But whenever someone walked in and out of them, the doors would open and you just hear.
Yeah, pretty much. Wow.
And like almost clouds of cigarette smoke coming out of it. It's just like, yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't decide to go in those. So as much as I would quite like to try a pachinko machine properly, or a patchy slot, or whatever, just no. So other like gaming gems I found in Japan, I suppose. The arcades, like, there was one arcade that I thought was like, really? They did this? And it had a terrible name, like Wonderful World or something. But basically, they took Dota and made a stylus-powered arcade game out of it. Although it's not officially Dota, but it's that style of game. They took a MOBA, basically, and made a stylus arcade game.
Stylus-based? Okay.
Well, that's not that. Like, you need a pointer of some kind for that kind of game, I guess.
Yeah, but as an arcade machine, that's just weird.
I think there's been weirder control methods for arcade machines than just the stylus.
Yeah, I guess, but...
And just as easily broken as every other arcade control.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it probably didn't last for long, I guess. There was a lot of those like card-based arcade games that seem big over there at the moment. Like you'll build a deck of stuff, and there'll be some kind of you have to put decks on a playing surface, and the game knows what card you've put on the surface, and you can move them around positionally and things like that, and that's how you control the game and stuff like that. There seem to be a few of those about, and I saw some. Teenage fashion-based card games of that ilk as well. There seem to be like very bright colours, and like you could win. It was a sort of rhythm game, but you could then win cards that you would then use to dress up your character in this rhythm game. Physical items.
Really? What, physical cards?
Like physical cards out of this machine.
I just want to know if you had your save card for Initial D and you had that.
I actually don't know where that is, but they seem to be on like Initial D is still about, but it's like
clearly
version 700 or something now. So I'm sure those old cards definitely don't work.
Multi-track drifting.
And I didn't find a Mario Kart GP to use that card that I actually do still have. So the arcades were interesting. Just because the types of games in them were just way different to what you'd expect here. Like
to the no games.
To the no games you get in England, yeah, I guess. But even if you wandered into, like, I don't know, when the Trocadero is still a thing, like, you wouldn't really see these sorts of games about. You might see Tekken, but... Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention, fighting games, still big. There's, like, whole floors dedicated to fighting games and things like that. But
yeah, makes sense.
they like their fighters. Fight. Not so much racing games. Racing games seem hard to come by. Like, yeah, there was one. There was Initial D was the only one I really saw. And that was, well, this was all Akihabara, so I don't know if Akihabara is like
the fighting game place or something. Or the capsule games place.
Yeah. Or Gundam Home. Speaking of Akihabara, though, I did find Super Potato.
Sweet.
That place is kind of awesome. It doesn't really look like much, and actually it's obviously operating on the cheap, I guess, but it has got a lot of stuff.
Anything pique your interest?
Well, I did come home utterly randomly. I just thought, I've got to bring something back from Super Potato, so I now have a Japanese SNES cartridge of Star Fox, even though I don't have a SNES. But,
nice.
It's just like it's there. I've got to have it.
Makes sense.
And to be honest, I couldn't really understand what half the other games were because they were all written in Japanese. So it's just like, I don't know what this is. And I did think to myself, maybe I should just pick a random one. So in the off chance I ever get a SNES, I can just put it in and see what happens. Can
you play that on a British SNES? I guess you can because it's PAL, right?
Yeah, you probably could. I don't think. Yeah, I think the UK and Japanese. Oh no, maybe not. Japanese would be NTSC, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah.
So probably not. Probably won't even work. But whatever.
No, are they NTSC? Yeah, maybe they are. Okay. Never mind.
Probably wouldn't even work. But never mind. At least the cartridges are the same shape. But the American cartridges are different.
That's right, because we had the nice-looking SNES, not the shitty American SNES with the purple and
yeah, and the boxes, just made of boxes.
Yeah,
the Lego SNES.
That thing's lame. I mean, it's cool. Obviously, it's great console, but like it looks lame in comparison to the.
They had MSXs, weirdly, which I don't think I've ever seen a real one ever.
Okay.
Like the old, the original Metal Gear machine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are there parts of Metal Gear? Can you play Metal Gear in Metal Gear 2?
I don't know,
on
actually.
Anything. Yeah, I don't know. We'll need to carry on the story after I finish Phantom Pain.
Start from the beginning, anyway. Oh, yeah. Well, I suppose you want to play Solid, don't you? Really? Like, I don't think those original Metal Gears are canonical in the Solid series, anyway.
I thought they were.
No, I don't think they. I mean, Solid was basically like the proper start, I thought.
But I thought that the stuff going on in this game, like the end game stuff, the spoiler stuff that we can't talk about, was kind of retconning those games so that they made sense.
No idea.
Because
I honestly don't know a lot about the MSX ones, but I think the first Metal Gear MSX game might be okay, but Metal Gear 2 is kind of just they kind of had fun with it. It wasn't really a Kojima gig, I think. Like, it was just... Oh,
is that right? Because as I understand it, like, at the end of the first game, you kill the bad guy. And at the end of the second game, you kill the same bad guy.
Something like that, yeah. It's sort of like I think, like, as far as I remember, I think Metal Gear 2 was more of a. It was kind of like just a sort of a fan rehash, almost like as you'd imagine it. Like, yeah, we've made it better in many ways, like and stuff like that. But it's it's not a sequel really.
Because Solid Snake torches Big Boss with an aerosol can lit on fire. You know that technique. You spray the can, and yeah, I think that's how Solid Snake kills Big Boss at the end of Metal Gear 2. Or kills him. I know he doesn't actually die, does he? But anyway, he nearly dies.
Dies enough. Probably does a blink, 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 disappear. What else did I do in Japan that was of interest to this podcast? Sumo wrestling friggin' rocks. Go see some sumo.
So wasn't it some kind of world championship or something?
It was they run like 6 tournaments a year, as far as I'm aware. And we were catching the 4th or 5th of the year.
Cool.
And they run for 15 days. And we were there on like day 7, I think.
Okay.
So halfway through. So, but you're seeing like the top tier of sumo wrestlers during the end of this day. And it's like, it's awesome. The bouts may only last like 2 seconds, but it's like, and each round has to have like a 4-minute ritualistic build-up, but then because the build-up is like the same every time, the crowd knows the rhythm of it. So like as you're getting near the end of the ritual, the crowd's starting to get really amped for the next fight, and it's like, it's awesome,
sweet.
And then some fat dudes jiggle around a bit, and then someone's a winner, and then.
So you recommend it then?
It's cool.
It would only be better for Rob if it was fat children.
Yeah,
everyone knows Rob's love for fat children.
Ian Wright's fat kids do sumo. Those shows are always so hilarious. Ian Wright's fat kids. Why Ian Wright?
Because he's a sports person.
Yes.
He's about exercise.
And really desperate for a TV show.
Well, yeah, he wasn't a footballer still at that point. He probably wanted some money. Something.
He hasn't really done anything since.
He does punditry, as usual. As every footballer does once they try.
But hasn't Ferdinand taken over from the like Ian Wright slot?
Not always. Depends.
What else we got? Shrines are pretty. Flights are horrible. People in Japan are the nicest people in the planet. On the planet.
Really?
In the planet.
Well, that's nice to hear. Why? What happened? Did you get any people being super really nice?
Well, they're just. It's not really like any one thing. There's just a general feeling of respect, and like even if they do a little thing, like they're just even subtly in your way, you can hear the whispers of "Suminase," like just on the air and stuff like that. It's like every little thing. They're desperately trying not to be a pain in the arse to each other.
Nice.
Which is more than you can say for the American tourists, which are a pain in the arse to everyone within a 50-mile radius of them. But yeah, they're just awesome. It's like you know how I have that thing where I get a bit claustrophobic and a bit overwhelmed by London if I'm there too long.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I'm in one of the most bonkers cities on the planet. And then Tokyo for 3 days, and I just didn't get that. I just didn't have that problem.
Cool.
And it's like, and I think that is in part due to the fact that people aren't assholes. It's like you don't have to crowd dodge so much. People like walk. You're on a pavement, right? And people walk on the friggin' side of the pavement, so other people can walk past you if they're walking faster than you. It's little things like that. Like
wow.
Whereas I walked through Cambridge yesterday, and within half an hour it took me to get where I needed to go. Walking through Cambridge, I was more pissed off than I had been throughout the entire 10 days of people dodging in Japan. It's just
that's awesome.
There's just something about them.
In Cambridge, you're going to get run over by a bloody bicycle any second, and there's no way to hear them coming.
Well, in fairness, you might get that in Tokyo too, but they try really hard not to hit you.
Not to hit you, yeah.
They don't expect you to get out of the way, I guess, is the difference.
That's really cool to hear, actually.
It's just awesome. I think it's not just the way of being, I suppose, that sort of extends to their systems and how they go about doing things, because everything there is super simple, really. It's like it's a interconnected set of simple systems that just sort of flows. It's
like what for example,
I don't know, the Metro, I guess, is one of the obvious ones. It's like, yeah, okay, London has a pretty good system with the Oyster cards where you just pay and go, right? But it's like, for someone like us, where it's like you're just trying to figure out how to get by, it's like there's a map, and you look at the map, and it's in English, and you want to know what ticket to buy to go where you need to go, and it's like, you don't buy a ticket to go from here to there, it just has a number on it saying, this is the price of the fare you need, and you just go to the machine and press, I need a 220.
Okay.
Problem solved!
Nice.
That'll get you where you need to go. And in fact, at one point, the barriers actually stopped us taking an inefficient route. It's like we'd worked out, it's like, oh yeah, we need to go from here to here, and that'll be just fine. We tried using our ticket through the barrier, and the barrier basically said no. So we had to ask a guy, and the guy was basically like, no, it's quicker to go this way. So like the barriers are actually stopping us from being inefficient and talking up the system.
Awesome. What did it do? It just said, speak to someone.
It just said no. Right. And we were like, what? Why can't we get through here? This is the way we want to go. And it's like it sort of knew that although there was a way to get there, you'd probably be need a more expensive fare to get to any of the stations on that route or something.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
I don't really know how it knew, but it sorted us out. Got us on the right track. Yeah, it's just little things like that everywhere. Like, there's no card payments generally. You do everything in cash. Okay. Again, very nice for the traveller. Like, everything is in cash. They don't have like those ridiculous touchscreen tills everywhere. It's just like it's just an old school till.
It's all old school. Yeah.
It's not actually more efficient.
It actually somehow is. It's great. It's like you just put cash on a plate because you have to be carrying cash, so you have cash. And I guess the only problem is like, what do you do if you run out of cash? There aren't actually that many ATMs about. But you can find them in 7-Elevens because 7-Elevens are everywhere. But, there isn't like just a hole in the wall at a bank, generally. Also, there were ads on TV. They get all their cash from? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they just go to the bank.
Maybe.
But then, there was no, there was, an ad on TV at some point that basically said, hey, get this new card. It's got chip and pin. Oh, my God.
Wow.
Chip and pin is brand new to them. Although, again, I shouldn't be that surprised about it because they don't really have chip and pin in USA and Canada, do they?
No, they don't. I mean, contactless is just so good in London. It's getting to the point where you don't need to carry cash. Because they have contactless in the pub.
Yeah. Well, we had an earthquake while we were there. There was a 5.3 earthquake. On our first night in Tokyo.
Was that normal, standard every week type thing, or?
Oh yeah, no one seemed that bothered. It's it was cool to see all the phones have a warning system on them, so they all suddenly start playing this alarm sound, no matter what phone you had.
Right.
Apart from my Windows phone, confusingly, although I did have my work iPhone on me at the time, but they all sort of suddenly start going whoop whoop whoop, and I was like, what the hell's my phone doing?
What, even your phone?
Yeah. And then this earthquake started, and it's like, oh, okay, that's the floor moving then.
Whoa, cool. What was it like?
you say cool. I mean, it didn't really do it. 5.3 doesn't really do any damage, but it's noticeable. And it sort of just jiggles around a bit. It's actually quite, I don't know, a bit like a boat in some respects. It just sort of goes left, and then it goes right, and it goes left. It's it goes quite slow.
Interesting.
That was fun.
Cool.
Proper Japanese now. I can live through an earthquake.
You've lived through several earthquakes in Suffolk.
Oh, well.
There was literally one last year that I was awake for.
Not quite on that scale, though.
No, that was probably only a 2 or a 3. As in, it was noticeable at all.
Yeah, only just. Yeah, Japan, man. You gotta go. It's awesome.
Yeah, I really want to.
We went to the manga museum. Which isn't really a museum. It's basically a library. You just sort of get a book and go sit down. They do have some English stuff.
Sit down and read some manga. Sweet.
Yeah.
That sounds
great.
Start
reading JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which is bizarre.
What a surprise.
Clue was in the name, I suppose. They have a surname in their family called Joestar.
Yep. Yeah.
Like Joestar. It's a silly name.
Joestar.
Yeah, in a nutshell, Japan. Eat beef. Eat the beef.
Was the beef good? Did you have like
Beef is
super nice beef?
The beef is amazing.
I thought you said you didn't have enough meat while you were there.
No, we had some. It's like there isn't a lot about.
No.
But like generally you're eating fish and noodles like the entire time, pretty much, or rice for breakfast. They have rice for breakfast. It's
What, like just a bowl of rice, or
pretty well with other stuff, and like they have like a salad, maybe some potato salad in their salad. They basically just have like a normal meal for breakfast, which I guess might make sense. And maybe they don't have lunch. I don't know. But it seemed a bit weird to me.
yeah,
So we often just had the continental bit of croissant.
it's available.
Can't deal with noodles for breakfast. And then shabu shabu beef. That was amazing.
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
like that's that super thin cut, like cooks in front of you, sort of.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, do you
lovely.
cook it on a little, like a boiling water thing in the middle of the table thing?
yeah,
Okay.
basically.
Yeah.
It's delicious. So good.
Like in that scene in Lost in Translation where they're annoyed at each other and they're like cooking beef across the
Well, we didn't do shabu shabu. We were at that hotel for a night, and we didn't
yeah.
do the shabu shabu beef there. But I did
No,
have
that
the most
was-
expensive steak of my life, and it was
Yeah.
amazing.
Did it
I'll give
taste
them
it?
their props. It was a super expensive steak, but oh my god!
I had a very expensive steak in London that I didn't pay for, and it was pretty amazing. So I quite like to try Japanese equivalent.
It was unbelievable, but it probably was like $70,
Yeah,
like something ridiculous.
yeah, that's all right, isn't it? I mean, not every day, but $70.
Yeah, no,
what's
it's
that, like, 50
definitely
quid?
not an everyday
Yeah.
food.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, those were pretty amazing.
Sweet.
Sashimi's all right. Like proper sashimi is all right.
Yeah, proper sashimi.
Actually, it doesn't really taste of much. I guess it's like when you think of fish taste,
Yeah, it's not a strong.
sashimi doesn't taste of that. No, it's sort of nice, but it's not like going to blow your mind with the freshness.
It's pretty fresh though, I imagine.
It's pretty fresh. It has to be pretty fresh, otherwise it would be killing you.
It'd be bad.
Also, don't eat the baby squid or the sea cucumber. That shit's disgusting.
That wouldn't attract me, but I bet
Squid's
Ho would go
fine.
straight for the
No,
squid.
proper squid. Yeah, actual like cooked big squid. Like in a squid ring, or like like it's a bit chewy, but it's tasty, right? Squid's fine. Baby squid, and I'm talking about like little squids that are like about an inch long. It was purple for some reason. It was just horrible. I don't even know how to describe it. Sort of crunchy, yet slimy, yet chewy, yet salty, yet
It's just like another weird kind of prawn at that point, really.
sort of, except it's just the worst mouthfeel you can imagine. It's just horrible. Don't have that. And the sea cucumber is basically like a little maggot that you can't chew and also tastes pretty much as bad. And I really tried, but it's like, no, I just cannot eat this. This is horrible.
Fair enough.
Eel's all right. Oysters are all right. Oysters are also not that big a deal. Like, they just have oysters.
Yeah, they're pretty good in
Doesn't-
Belgium, so
Yeah. So it's not really that exotic. I think we may have had some caviar in something.
really.
Oh, in the starter at Park Hyatt. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was okay. Again, not quite sure I understand what the big deal about caviar is.
Yeah,
I'm not really a foodie in the sort of.
caviar's a weird thing, though, isn't it? Like beluga fish eggs.
Yeah, They're more crunchy than I thought. More solid. Go to Japan.
Go to Japan.
Go to Japan. You'll have a good time. It'll make you want to live there, and then you realise that living in Tokyo might actually be a real pain in the ass.
Why is that?
Like, just because it's crazy money.
Right.
Like, more than
but
London
people do
money,
go, right?
probably.
And like English people do go and like get money for teaching English and shit. Like maybe not in central Tokyo.
I guess.
Tokyo's
I've heard
a
both
big
good
place,
and bad
right?
stories on that front. Like you really have to live minimal.
Yeah, I think
you can't really own anything. You have to have like one of those like typical single room places.
Yeah.
With shared bathrooms and all that stuff. Like
right, yeah. Aesthetic.
Yeah. But it's crazy money. It's still crazy money, even for that, if you're anywhere in Tokyo. And you have to go a long way out of Tokyo before you see a house.
Right. Yeah. But then there are houses for bloody miles, right?
Yeah. It's like we got on the train to Kyoto. It's like it just kept going.
Yeah.
It's like there's just like
Greater Tokyo
everywhere.
is just ridiculous, isn't it? It's like a whole giant bay just full of buildings.
Yeah, there's no gaps.
I think it's the biggest metropolitan area, isn't it, in like the world? I think maybe.
Oh, probably.
It's
definitely the densest, isn't it? Like officially.
I don't know about that. Maybe in the middle. Don't know.
Oh well, yeah, actual middle Tokyo, surely.
Yeah, probably is the densest. But it goes out so far as well. Yeah, not quite sure. Anywho, Japan.
Didn't really find much in the way of like gamers and like actually being able to buy normal games outside of like the retro land of Super Potato.
Oh, really?
Find that.
No street passes or.
Oh, I got shit tons of street passes. That's solid.
Yeah.
I got my puzzle pieces, But we didn't really find anywhere that actually sort of just sold up to date games. You didn't really find anywhere that actually sold you a PlayStation.
Weird. Maybe they
the only ads. We saw ads for Nintendo games on the tube. They were trying to advertise Star Fox and Kirby Robo Planet, whatever that thing is, which I guess is out now, or was out in Japan while we were there, something like that. Yeah, but we didn't really see any of that. So I don't know. Do people game in Japan? I guess people still play Splatoon from Japan. So here we go.
I guess maybe they just buy them from supermarkets or something, or it's just so normal that surely everyone has a PlayStation in Japan, right?
Surely everyone.
Don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah, so I don't know. I can't really be the authority in the Japanese gaming scene, other than people still go to arcades and they like smoke. I'm such a generalist. Or generalizer. Whatever. Words.
Rob Kemp, the generalizer.
The generalizer.
Cool.
I will reduce your culture to a few words. Smoke.
Cool.
Should we have some news?
I think we'll have some news. According to our new plan that we improvised before starting this podcast, we now have 12 minutes for news. So go.
Yeah, this didn't work.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't going to.
Japan wasn't going to work. Should I just use those 12 minutes to talk about public bathing?
No.
Go for it. No. Well, maybe yes.
Just carry on. You sit on a stool and you chuck buckets over your head. There you go.
That's how you bathe in public. Oh yeah.
The buckets don't have anything in them. You're just throwing buckets.
Clean.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm literally just chugging plastic at my face.
News.
News.
Okay, here we go. Civilization 6
is a thing.
It's a thing. What does Egg think?
I think, wait and see again.
It does look like
the general impression I've been hearing everywhere is like, don't buy it when it comes out.
No.
Wait for at least 2 expansions.
Well, the thing is, this time,
That's just it. This
looks like
time-
they might not have cut as much content as they did the last 2 times.
This time it's got religion in from the start and all that stuff, so it looks like they're not doing that thing where they cut it down and then build it back up.
Maybe. Or
Hopefully.
Maybe not. It's hard to tell. You don't know what content isn't there, you know what is there. That's the trouble. You know what they're telling you, not what there isn't.
True. I think it looks promising.
What have they cut out from elsewhere? Have they just cut the sea?
The sea looked pretty cool, actually, with waves washing up on the rocks.
Yeah, I guess.
But no one really cares about the visuals of Civ,
No,
right?
and I'm not sure that it visually looks
kiddie.
as good as it did in 5, yeah.
They're
They
a bit cartoony.
brightened it up, which looks cartoony, and I'm not sure that's as good.
I don't think I have a problem with that.
No,
As long as I can
it's
see
fine.
what's going on and I can play the game, then
It's pretty
that's
clear.
not what I go
I
to.
think one thing was that like cities now spread onto multiple tiles, right? Which I think is a nice idea.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they tried to do that last time, kinda, but now they're trying to do it even more so.
It was just sort of visual before, though, wasn't it?
Well, sort
Like it wasn't really mechanically.
But the trouble with it in like the new one is that it's not a new thing as such. It's just like a replacement for tile upgrades. I mean, there's tile upgrades as well, but it's like the city can just have a type of tile upgrade that's attached to the city. It's not really a new system. It's just like a rejiggering of the old system.
Yeah. I think it makes sense though. If you look at like we're just talking about how big Tokyo is, like it makes sense that a big city can grow.
It makes sense for Tokyo, maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah.
In the scale of the Civ universe, most cities should only be one tile.
Most, yeah.
Compared to the
so.
size of the map.
But maybe your capital could be an extra tile or two. I don't know.
We'd have to be like only like late game mega cities, maybe. But then it depends. Will they have rebalanced the city system so you have like your capital being enormous, like and the other cities being not so big?
All they need, what it should be is like the extended area shouldn't be like part of the city. It should be like towns, because then you could have cities and then like towns around them.
Suburbia type thing. Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know how that would work in terms of the game flow. That would be quite a radical change.
Well, not really, because it would just like the towns would count as part of the city population. It would just count towards the same thing. It would just be like a visual way of representing extended population zones.
But then I guess we don't know how the bigger cities would function mechanically anyway, right, at this point? Like, can you attack just the outskirts of a city and it just damage that? Do you have to work your way to the centre of the city by, like, demolishing the squares on your route? Or...
Well, I'm sure there's... I bet there's the... Like, if they already had the old school tile upgrades of like fortresses and stuff, so I expect there's probably a city-based tile that would be like a defensive perimeter or something that you could specifically upgrade a tile near the city.
I mean, that in itself is an interesting thought. Like, if you build like city walls or whatever, and then the city expands beyond the walls.
Well, that happened sort of anyway in the old... Like, if you,
but again, purely visually.
No, I mean, it's like if you built... If you walls only worked up to a certain population cap, I think, if I remember rightly, like once your city got to a certain size, the old school walls were no longer sufficient.
I thought that was technology.
Well, there was a technology one as well. And then, you know, if you built the Great Wall of China, it spawns the Great Wall of China on your current border. But then if your borders expand, then it's no longer at your border.
Yeah.
Not that I think that actually had a gameplay effect. I think that one was just visual.
That was visual, yeah. It was cool that it stayed there, though, actually, in some respects.
Yeah. So I don't know. And, like...
How far into the future will they go?
Are
they just going to do the same thing?
They'll go the exact same distance they always do. 2050.
That sucks. They should go further.
But they don't want to cannibalise the potential for another Beyond Earth.
But maybe at this point they should realise that Beyond Earth wasn't that good?
Well, I think they probably do realise that Beyond Earth was that good. That doesn't mean they're not going to make a new one and say that it's better.
I guess. Corporate Zach here.
Not even corporate, like obvious Zach.
Management Zach.
Okay, that's Civ 6. What else is going on?
Disney Infinity is over.
Yeah, cancelled.
It's not so infinite.
No.
I don't know why.
Yeah, this is what's confusing people. Like no one really knows what the reason is behind it. There are some rumors that perhaps they were actually losing hundreds of millions.
That's quite a lot.
Somehow.
Cancel that shit.
Despite having all the despite having Star Wars and shit, all the brands that should make millions of money.
But then it's not clear that whether or not that was just Disney Infinity that was losing millions, or if it was across all of whatever's left of Disney Interactive. Because here's the bigger news, I guess. Well, it's not really bigger news, but bigger in actual company size, I guess. Is it's not just that Disney Infinity has been cancelled. Disney is decimating Disney Interactive. like that. It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And any studios they owned have closed. So, I guess in this case, Avalanche, who are the guys behind Disney Infinity, not to be confused with the Avalanche that make Just Cause. No. They're same name, different company. So they're closed completely. John Vignaci's out of a job.
Well, maybe.
Probably, yeah. So I don't know if I'm surprised or not that that's not a success because Toys to Life is
all the rest of them still seem to be going.
Is an expensive
new
venture.
Skylanders are coming.
Yeah, somehow Skylanders, but Skylanders always feels like when they make a game, they sort of do it on a way smaller scale than what Disney Infinity was attempting.
They still have to make the physical things, and that's probably the most expensive part of the whole process.
Yeah, but there are less of them, and I guess the investment to get like a full Skylanders game experience is probably less than if you're trying to get full Disney experience. Or full Lego experience, for that matter. Or is it just that Lego have won? Or that Skylanders are still going and people that are invested in Skylanders from the start are still buying Skylanders?
In Lego's case, they already had the capability to make the physical things. They didn't have to create new physical things from nothing. They were just like, let's just bring in some Lego.
But then it's not like the physical things from Disney really do anything. They're just like...
Well, even the ones from Lego, technically, just because they happen to also be Lego bricks.
They just have to have a chip in them.
Yeah, they don't actually interact with the game directly.
No. Yeah, so I don't know. It's a weird one to me. Like, you'd have... I think Zach's reasoning is sound in that you would have thought if anyone was going to do Toys to Life, Disney should just run away with it. Because Disney merch just never gets old. It always makes money.
Yeah.
And even the Disney Infinity statues on their own, outside of the game, I've not seen them myself, really. I've not had any first-hand touchy-feely experience with them. But apparently those things are pretty great. Like, just as little statues, in the same way that amiibos are kind of great, just as statues. Regardless of their game functionality. So, like, even without the game, I would have thought those things would have done well. They've got a good style, right? They stylized Infinity.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad style. It's almost that, I would almost describe it as that sort of like, I don't know, Samurai Jackie, halfway between
Star
that.
Wars, Clone Wars.
Yeah, Clone Wars sort of look to it. And it's like, that's fine, that works. I just don't understand why this failed. Or maybe it didn't. I don't know.
Maybe it's a strategic thing. Yeah. Who knows?
This could be them just doubling down on the fact that, hey, well, we think things are going to go well with our new plan to just get other people to make Star Wars games.
Yeah.
Why don't we just do that across the entire division, right? And get other people to make all our Disney stuff.
Not that that's what they weren't doing already, really.
Well, they didn't
just because they had this umbrella Disney Interactive thing didn't necessarily mean it was in-house exactly.
I was supposed to say, I don't know if Disney were really making much outside of Infinity, were they? Like,
not really.
I get the last things I can think of that they made were probably like Epic Mickey, and even then they would have got external. I think they got an external studio in to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
They shut down LucasArts, didn't they? The moment they acquired it.
Yeah. I think that, even regardless of the state of Infinity, like, you could argue that, they think that having done that with Star Wars, they think it's going to work. Let's just do this across the entire business. That sounds like it's a logical route they could be taking. Anyway, that happened. Brandon Jones from Easy Allies / X Game Trailers is a bit distraught about it because he invested heavily and he's a big fan. So
that shouldn't be a problem. That should be like, now everything he has is going to become more expensive very quickly.
Yeah, maybe. But he actually enjoyed it all and is sad there's not more. So, for those people, Also, Infinity. Risky name.
Like Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah.
Well, that was more literal.
It did take forever. That's fine.
Exactly.
Although I think we've been waiting longer for Half-Life 3 at this point than Duke Nukem Forever actually did come out, even though it was terrible.
Just call it Half-Life Never at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, what else is going on? Overwatch came out, and pretty much every review was like 10 out of 10 as far as I could tell.
Well, we'll come back to that because Zach and I played the beta.
Yeah. Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
So we'll come back to that in the game. We haven't played. We haven't talked about that since that happened.
I talked about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you talked about it, but I want to wade in.
Okay,
So wade in,
okay.
Whatever.
What else we got?
We'll come back to that. Windows, the universal platform thing, has in an attempt to try and move it towards actually being a decent place to play games, has introduced a frame rate unlocking mechanism, so it's not stuck to 60.
Oh, right, yeah.
Or whatever. Actually, it wasn't stuck to 60. It was stuck to whatever your default setting was, which is what caused problems with me when I tried. If you try to play Killer Instinct and your monitor is set to 120 hertz, the game runs too fast and screws itself up. So yeah, basically they've sorted out frame rate stuff, and they've also added G-Sync and FreeSync. There's the alarm. There's the duck alarm. Right, we've got no time to do the rest of the news. Let's crap through it.
There's a lot of it still.
EA had an investor meeting, which revealed some stuff. So the new Star Wars game that is being headed up by Amy Hennig of ex-Naughty Dog fame isn't going to be coming out till 2018. So I've got a long time to wait for that.
Is that after the next film? Or one of the next films? It's after Rogue One, presumably, because that's got to be next year.
Yeah, it's got to be. Or maybe it's in... It's got to be after the second, right? The second has to come out 17?
I don't know,
next
because
year.
the whole reason of having Rogue One was to space it out a bit more, wasn't it?
But that's this year. There's nothing coming out
next
this year other than
next
Rogue
year.
One.
It's the next one. Yeah.
So they'll be after that.
Not that that's relevant necessarily. I mean, they could still be making an old Star Wars game.
Yeah,
still.
maybe. Well, maybe they're revisiting 1313, haven't they? And the only other sort of interesting news that came out of that investor meeting that I wanted to bring up was that Respawn of Titanfall fame are also working on a Star Wars game.
Indeed, yeah. I think we mentioned this, didn't we?
It's going to come out after 2018.
Yeah, they did not said. They didn't say.
It's cool.
But that's weird, right? Like, because Respawn
Yeah, it's weird.
are in FPS land.
I think they're hiring
And Star Wars
as
is
fast as they
already...
can.
But Star Wars is already covered in FPS land with Battlefront, right?
Well,
I
if you call
guess.
that covered.
But that's... I don't know, I think that's a weird move internally, right, for EA to have two FPSs in the Star Wars
It
universe.
doesn't have to be an FPS. I mean, it could be a third person. Like,
I
could
mean,
be
I
a
guess,
1313 style game, I guess.
Maybe.
Could be a space shooter.
Okay, I'm in.
I doubt
But,
gonna be
it's just
Xbox.
like... Yeah, but it's just outside of Respawn's wheelhouse, right?
Again, well,
So,
unless it is a first-person shooter, unless it's a Call of Duty as opposed to a Battlefield, unless it's a like
What's that even mean?
yeah,
like
what would they even do with that?
campaign
I
and
don't
shit.
know. Jedi Knight is back.
Oh yeah,
Sure. I mean, that's definitely not what they're good at. They make an RPG.
Last of my EA news, but nothing to do with the investor meeting. Mirror's Edge is getting a TV series.
what?
I reckon that could work.
Well, the trouble
As long
is,
as they keep it visually
Well, yeah.
stylistic and double down on that.
well,
The
trouble
story is like paper thin. It's all like style.
Oh yeah, the story was rubbish. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is that like you had the story of Mirror's Edge, the original, and that was like, it was fine, I guess. It was like it didn't really have any background to it, and that's what the new game's going to be. So it's like they've covered their entire story in the two games. So what?
Well, the
they've
new
got
game
left
is a
for this-
prequel as well, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I meant. That's why, like, the original game didn't have anything leading up to it, so it seemed really, like, abrupt and you didn't really know what the fuck was going on.
The new game is why Faith's a runner, isn't it? Not that she already is and is about to avenge her sister.
She's going to be a runner in the game, so
Yeah,
how much they will have a lead up to even that much will be, like, where
yeah, probably not. Probably not.
the tutorial level will be like, here's the actual backstory to the backstory.
Yeah,
And I guess we already talked about Battlefield 1.
yeah.
We
did.
talked about that.
Yeah.
No
Nothing
Man's
new has
Sky
really
is
come out about
delayed.
Yep. God damn it, for some reason. A
Yeah,
game
I
that's
really
taken
thought-
like a million years to come out, let's have 2 more months of development for some reason.
Man, I really
Yeah.
thought they were going to hit that date as well.
Yeah,
Nobody
they
else.
announced it
After
quite
they took so
confidently on TV and everything, didn't they? Didn't
Yeah.
they go on like chat shows in America and shit, like
Yeah,
late
they
night, saying it's going to be out, and then no, fail. I mean, I don't really care. I mean, they might as well get it right if they're going to. I mean, people are
But
going
how
to be
much more
disappointed
work
in it
can you possibly
anyway.
do in 2 months? It's a
don't
classic
know.
question. Of a game that's taken God knows how many years to get to this point, what difference is 2 more months going to make?
It's a good question.
I did see some people suggesting that it was more of a PlayStation problem. Like, the PC version would probably be okay, but they don't want to split the release.
Right, that makes sense. Because, they have been on lots of Sony press conferences and shit since the beginning, so... And, like, Sony have been like, indie games, woo, since the launch of the console.
Rocket League PC players can now play Xbox players.
In theory, but
Zach hasn't seen it yet.
The population count in Rocket League didn't change at all after that match, because I was playing immediately before and immediately after, and the population didn't change even slightly.
And, you know, I guess you wouldn't see it on the PC version even if you tried, because it would just come up as that Cynet tag.
Well, we assume.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I haven't even noticed yet, and we don't know what's going to happen with the potential for the special cars.
Yeah. And it currently still doesn't work Xbox to PlayStation, so you can't do the whole...
Which is also weird, because the whole, like, when you're in... The whole idea, like, in the PC version... Well, I guess in all of those, there's the toggle to turn off crossplay, and it's like that barely seems to work anyway. So it's like,
oh, well, really? Even if you turn it off, you still get
sometimes, or at least so people have been saying.
Is it like a preference? Right? Yeah.
So it's like, how does it even know to exclude the PlayStation and Xbox people from each other? Would you even be able to tell?
I guess if you were playing on Xbox, you'd be able to tell, right? Because, like, if you had someone in your room... Oh, not that they were a PlayStation. No. I guess the PC player might not get an icon, right? They'd probably come up as Cynet.
The other way, yeah. You'd never be able to know. Apart from maybe by username, you might be able to tell.
Yeah,
most of the time you can tell where... Even if you didn't look at the icons, you could probably tell most of the Steam usernames, because they're all real fucked up.
Yeah.
And dumb.
So there's that. In what I think is the dumbest move, like, I don't know, I'm beginning to... Right, let me just read this out first, and then I'll give you like my annoyance at this. Oculus has started detecting and blocking Vive compatibility layers that allow you to play the Oculus Rift games from its store on the Vive.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is stupid.
Yeah.
Because, like when Oculus, like, themselves going out there and basically saying, we just need VR to work, right? We're like, we just need it to be a thing. We're not going to, we just want it to do well. It doesn't matter who does well, in a way. We'd kind of like it to be us, but because of course they would. But man, this is some nonsense, right? This is like, this kind of stuff is making me like, ever since Oculus actually announced what it kind of was, and the fact that it had its own store, and the fact that it had it's pushing me away.
Yeah.
And pushing, I think, like, it's just like, I'm not going to buy into VR anytime soon, but, like, wait for round 2 at least. But, the Vive has way more goodwill for it.
Well, I always thought the Vive was just better anyway. I
always
preferred...
Oh, it turns out, yes, it is a better headset, like, technologically and stuff like that, and it has the price tag to go with it, but, with the possible exception of its comfort factor.
I always preferred the technology idea of the lighthouses better than the camera. I just thought that was always going to be a better result in the end.
I've got nothing. I actually have nothing against the Oculus approach. The camera seems to work. It seems to be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's not necessarily breaking the mold in terms of what you can and can't do. It's doing what you expect of VR to some degree. Vive just went that step further with room scale, which, I doubt a lot of people can actually get to work. We've talked all about all that stuff before, but,
So I was walking through my office back to my desk the other day, and there was an HTC Vive in a box on the desk that I passed, an open box, and I was like, oh, what?
We've got a Vive?
Yeah, so my boss had bought one, I guess, to investigate the possibility of, like, VR. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't think he knows anything about it. And it was on the desk. I was like, whoa, a Vive. And then Annie was like, yeah, he didn't know he needed a PC. He was going to plug it into his Mac. So I was like, yeah. And then I tried to advise him on what graphics card to buy. I was like, well, I have a 970, but maybe get the 980. I don't know.
Or, wait for a 1080.
Yeah, well, I said that. Well, we looked that up. They're like 640 quid or something.
Wait for 1070.
Yeah, well, exactly. No, we probably get a 9. I hope he gets a 980. Anyway, but it was quite funny.
The 1080s are coming out at 600? I thought they were going to be a bit cheaper than that.
No, well, we looked them up. I guess that, expensive. I guess. I don't know. He only looked for 1 second, so it seemed a bit off. But that was on Aria or whatever. Anyway,
not officially out yet, so you know.
No, but I was just trying to explain to him. Probably get the 980, and your Mac is not going to cope. But yeah, hopefully, because we have a stupid ping pong room, which is just a room just for ping pong. So I'm sure we can move some stuff aside, and we'll have easily enough space for massive room scale VR. So that'll be quite fun. Hopefully, yeah, I'll get to play with that with any luck. I don't know. I mean, I think he'll keep it in there. I think he got it to like investigate doing VR projects, but I can't imagine we would ever do that. I mean, maybe we'd contract out to someone who does Unity, but even then, it's like the HTC Vive is like way too, powerful, the high res for making stupid agency projects. You basically have to be a game dev, obviously.
But what other choice do you have at this point? You either get that.
Well, I think Hose Agency does stuff, and they take stuff to trade shows, and they just do it on the Gear.
Oh, Gear,
Galaxy Gear, yeah. And then they're like Android games.
I suppose you don't get the walk around feeling. If you're going for like the estate agent business, the Vive is where it's at, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, with it's easier for like an event or something, but with the Gears, because there's no wire coming off it, right? It's all self-contained, so you can just shove one on someone's head and whatever. It doesn't. Yeah,
but I guess if you're running an event, you can have someone watching the cable for them, right? Holding it out.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I don't know exactly. Anyway, we'll see. I don't think he knew what he was getting into, but hopefully, when he manages to get this PC together and puts it on, he'll start to get it, and then he'll realize that in order to make something with it, he needs a giant team of dedicated games developers that will cost more than he can possibly afford.
It's just trying to get the hot stuff, the hot new thing.
Yeah, pretty much. He does do that.
Agency, you've got to be on the hot new thing, right?
Yeah, he bought a Google Glass before when it was only available in America or whatever. Of course, that's probably in the bin or like, I don't know, in a drawer somewhere at this point.
Yeah, eBay.
Yeah, and he got the Apple Watch immediately, naturally. But I think this is genuinely cool. Obviously, I'm like, whoa!
Oh yeah,
HTC Vive. Yeah, I'm in for that. The headset's not very heavy. Like, that's the first thing that struck me. It's not that heavy. I mean, it probably would be.
Must make those optics out of some sort of plastic, right, rather than glass, maybe.
I don't know. Anyway, and also I put my head straight into it. It's not attached to anything yet because he didn't have a PC. But my glasses fit.
Oh, awesome!
I didn't have to take them off, so I'm like, wow, sweet.
Don't get me wrong. I think like when version 2 of this stuff comes out, I might be tempted to go in because I'll have a new computer that will be able to deal with this stuff.
Yeah, by that point,
maybe you will.
By the time version 2 comes around, seriously, we're talking like another couple of years until that happens.
By the way, Rob, do you want my old? I say old, my sound card, the one that stopped working after I got a new PSU. I don't know if there's something wrong with it. I suspect there's nothing wrong with it at all. So I think you might.
You should bring it around next time you're in.
Yeah.
We should make sure that thing works.
I'll try and remember to bring it, and then because it might be good for your just music stuff. It's not very it doesn't do surround sound stuff, but you don't need that for your PC, right?
No. Low latency sound is awesome for other reasons.
Yeah, it's low latency ASIO or whatever, and it's also got a dedicated headphone amplifier, which might be good for your music, I guess.
Right? Awesome.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
See if it works.
Oh, just random aside. Equipment for me. Yay.
Yeah. Anyway, right. How are we doing for news? Pretty much done?
Yeah, a couple more things. Very basic stuff, not stuff that really needs much discussion, I guess. The conveniently named Hack Cheaters tool for Android mobile gaming turns out it's a giant bank bot.
Okay.
And will steal and basically takes over your phone and will steal your bank credentials. And it's actually quite a smart one in that it will take over your SMS and things like that. And if you've got your bank set up to send it security codes via text message or something like that, it knows how to understand those.
Oh God.
So But then obvious story is obvious, because when you install this app, it actually does one of those Android, like, will do its permissions thing. Like, you need to grant the app these permissions to carry on.
Right.
And it blatantly just says things like, oh yeah, I need access to your phone and your SMS. I need the ability to send SMSs and make phone calls. And you're like, why does a cheat engine need that?
Right.
If you're downloading this thing and you're just clicking through that step, you're an idiot.
You're probably an idiot.
It's that.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. What's it for?
Well, yeah, just for trying. It's for cheating in Android games.
What? Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm like that with any cheat engine generally, but
Yeah, but this isn't like competitive Counter-Strike or something. You can't really grief someone that badly with an Android game.
Clash Royale cheating? I don't know.
Right.
It's dumb. Either way you look at it, it's dumb. Don't do that. And also, I've just got a note here that says Doom. Doom seems to be going down pretty well.
Yeah, I might have to play that.
Like, just as a I don't think anyone expected it, right? To actually, maybe not at first, but I'll let the dust settle. Like, okay, so the multiplayer and snap map doesn't actually seem to be where the zeitgeist is.
Well, of course not.
Screw that.
Right?
It's about the campaign.
Well, it's software multiplayer. You'd think there'd be some.
They didn't even do it though, did they? I thought they outsourced.
No, they haven't done it. They haven't. Well, yeah, it's sort of a second team, and it's not. It's not Doom, right? It's not the id Software style of multiplayer. They cocked up there and basically made a modern shooter with like a 2-weapon system and team-based objective.
But that's not what the game is like.
It's like no, and that's not what the single player is like at all. And apparently, the single player is amazing.
It looks pretty great, to be honest. It looks fun.
I just don't think anyone expected to come away with from everything we saw leading up to it, and then for people to actually get their hands on the final thing. And, even the smart way it handles story, apparently, and things like that, with things you wouldn't necessarily expect from a Doom game, it also does well.
Cool.
And
because Doom 3 was a bit dreary and wasn't fun in the same way as Doom was. Like, it didn't feel Doom enough, Doom 3. So, like, this one seems like it's, got the right idea.
It's that, but
the only thing that puts me off in the
footage
is like, well, I'm not sure, but it looks like there's a lot of melee kills, and it looks like I'm going to spend my whole time meleeing people, and I'm not sure about that.
I think there's a balance to it later on, from what I've been reading. Like, so at first, it makes sense to just melee everyone because you're not necessarily being hoarded as much.
Right.
But when you are being hoarded, like going in for a melee kill puts you in the middle of the horde, which actually could be really dangerous.
Right. Okay. Maybe that's it.
And also, everyone is saying play it on one of the harder difficulties.
Yeah, hurt you plenty.
Otherwise, it's not Doom. Yeah.
Cool.
It's just. I think it's one of the better surprises. I don't think anyone really had high hopes for that thing.
I don't know. I mean, the previews at E3 or whatever, it looked fine, and that was maybe the more surprising.
But that was just it. It just looked fine. I don't think it necessarily looked bad. It just looked okay and brown.
I'm not going to say that this game is amazing yet either. It still looks like you run around and shoot things, and it works as a first-person shooter. That's about as much as you can say. It doesn't seem like I'm not entirely convinced that everyone giving it 10s is that much of a indication of that it being actually great. I think it's just like they wanted a Doom game to be a Doom game, and it's actually a Doom game. It's not Doom 3.
Yeah, I guess. There's some argument to that. Like, maybe just because we haven't had a game like this in so long, like we finally get one, and it's just like, oh my god, I forgot how much I missed this.
Oh my god, it's not terrible.
Yeah. Still, it's good news either way, I guess. Also, and then finally, in my not news category, let's just crap through this. Homefront Revolution is poop. I don't think anyone expected anything else.
Well, most people forgot that it was even actually coming out.
Yeah. And, some people have been actually talking out about SimCity's launch now, and why that was also terrible. And it does seem now that some of those, the main question that's been answered at this point is that Maxis are definitely weren't the design. Let me word that better. Maxis weren't the guys that wanted the always-on connection. That was definitely an EA management thing, like pushed upon them.
Yeah.
which makes the whole demise of Maxis even more sucky. In that, they basically got killed off by something they didn't want to do.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm not 100% convinced about that, though. Really.
I mean, this is people just saying, well, yeah, Spore made sense as a connected game, sort of, but SimCity sort of doesn't. Not to the extent that it was.
It could have worked. Like the idea of a multiplayer, like city trading element to a city building game makes perfect sense.
Maybe, but everyone wanted offline mode.
Well, yeah,
it came out, and everyone was like, "Well, actually, we don't want this."
It wasn't so much a problem of the idea; it was a problem that they didn't give any other option, and it was broken at launch.
Yeah, it does make me wonder how late in the day that decision was forced upon them to do always on. I guess that's not clear yet. Anyway, news over.
What have you been playing?
Should we go with Zegel?
Well,
do the usual route.
Apparently, we better talk about Overwatch.
Let's talk about Overwatch.
We should bring that back before we forget.
So I got in on the beta while it was still on, just after we recorded the last bit. I don't know what Zach's talking about. I really quite like that game.
Everyone seems
exactly
to like
what
it.
I'm talking about. You quite like it. That's exactly what I was saying.
Well, no,
like you quite like it. It's not the best fucking thing in the entire world ever.
I mean, Zach, you said you were done with it.
It's like
you said you were done with it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not. I want to go back.
You didn't play it as much.
No, well, of course not, because I had things to do.
I know some number more hours, but
yeah, I'm definitely.
I'm pretty sure we played pretty much all the levels in the time that we played.
Most, I think there's a couple we didn't, but yeah, I don't know. I think I think there's some balancing stuff they need to do, but. And yes, it's not TF2. I think that is a very valid statement. It isn't TF2. But in its own way, it's great. It's so much fun. It looks great. It feels great to play. It's just Blizzard, just coming out, doing what Blizzard always does. Being like, yeah, we took a really long time on this and we don't make many games. But when we make a game, it's a huge deal.
I don't think that's the case. I think this is actually a really small game that they made quite quickly with leftovers from another project.
I don't care. It's awesome. However, they whatever they did, Blizzard still don't put out that many games. And when they
that's true.
And when they do, they're always pretty great. And thus far, this is fitting into that pretty great category for me. I don't think that some of the problems that you expressed last time were 100% true. I don't think everyone plays as a subset of characters. I had quite the range during my time. I do think that everyone always starts as Diva.
Well, yes,
everyone.
There's always at least one of those.
Everyone picks Diva to not even that. Everyone I've spoke to about the game since the beta and since its launch, the first character anyone ever picks, the first game they play. Seems to be Diva.
No, I didn't do that.
I know, you're the exception, because of course you are.
Well, it's because I went, unlike apparently everyone else, even reviewers, I had people doing quick look type videos that I won't mention. I went into the tutorial and actually played all of the characters in the tutorial zone to see what the fuck was going on. So I actually knew how to play all the characters.
I did that with quite a few. I didn't do it with all of them. I did it with quite a few. I still don't understand a couple of them. But that I'll have to go back and try and figure out.
Because I think that was one of the reasons that Kippers was getting pissed off about certain characters. Because it's like, if you haven't seen how these things actually work, and you don't know what the fuck even if it's the one that you're playing, and because it has you press F1 to bring up the
little hint bar.
Yeah, the hints thing that tells you what all your moves are. But that doesn't really explain mostly how any of that works.
The explanations are quite bad. And actually, I don't even think even mucking around in the tutorial mode really gives you a sense of what the moves might be useful for.
Well, yeah.
Especially with some of the supporty type characters. And Ice Lady. A bit of me was just a little bit confused. It's what is this actually? How do I actually kill people? This doesn't seem very powerful at all. And it's no, that's not the point. You use her to set it up for everyone else.
Well, and once you've hit them, so they're slowing and freezing, that means they're not hitting you any longer.
Yeah, exactly.
Which means it makes you incredibly survivable.
Yeah, and a good Ice Lady player is actually quite dangerous indeed. There are certain characters I don't. Like, I would have like one good game with and think, oh, I understand her, and then have never been able to do anything remotely useful with ever since.
Yes.
Like Carrier or Carrier.
The Russian woman.
Yeah, the Russian pink-haired lady. Yeah. Who's a tank with a sort of laser beam style weapon. She basically has no damage output and just can sort of very temporarily shield everyone. And she feels like, as I say, I had a really good game pushing the payload the first time I played as well.
Because all you have to do is stand next to the thing.
Yeah, shielding everyone around me periodically, and catching people off guard with my laser. It went real well. But ever since then, I've just not been able to have a good game with her, and it's like she just feels so like for a tank character, she feels very weak, like just unable to do much. So I don't really understand her. I find like for a healer, I find Mercy actually quite difficult to play as.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why. I just really struggled with her.
Well, like the whole idea of a heal beam is a difficult thing to do anyway.
Because that's really all she has.
Yeah, well,
like she's not like you can switch.
Well, it's because that her weapon is a different. Unlike practically every other weapon in that game, she actually has like hit 1 and hit 2 to change between your gun and your heal beam.
Yeah.
Unlike most of the other characters, where it's just like your gun has another function attached to it that's just like the alt fire.
Yeah, like is it Lucille? Is that how you say that?
Lucio, whatever.
Lucius. The audio medic.
Yeah.
Who's a great deal of fun to play as, actually.
Yeah.
Like they've made a medic that's cool.
Well, it's because you don't have to worry about the medic part of it. You
Yeah.
just have to be vaguely near your team.
Yeah, and have heal mode on, and occasionally push the boost button, which plays that awesome rave riser. Whoop whoop whoop! Every time you use it, it's
a bit too much, really. They needed like multiple sound effects for that.
Yeah, probably. But he's cool. I think it's fun playing as a lot of the characters, which is like more than I could say for my like first several hundred hours of TF2, right? There were just certain characters that for a really long time I just could not get to grips with.
That's because all
of a sudden I shifted into, I can play demo now. Oh, I'm actually not bad at sniping now. What's happened?
It's because the characters in TF2 actually have a lot of different techniques and skill to them, whereas most of the characters in Overwatch, it's just like, at the base level, you're just pointing and shooting. In various ways.
There are some characters that are just that. Yeah. I'll give you that.
There's not that much like. Most of the guns are just guns. Like bullets go towards the enemy. There's the demo man equivalent, and that's like the one guy who has. Well, I suppose the Russian woman also has a grenade launcher technically, but there's not really.
Oh, yeah, but that's so weak.
Yeah. But there's not really that much like. A lot of the guns are just guns or things that act like guns, like the monk dude's ball projectiles. That's just a gun.
Yeah, basically.
Lucio's gun is just a gun.
A projectile gun, but a gun.
Yeah. So at a certain point, there's not as much variance, I don't think, in Team Fortress as in Team Fortress.
Maybe. I'm not 100% on that, but yeah, you're right in that there are more guns that are gun-like guns rather than hit scan guns, I guess, rather than like projectile guns,
and less things that require weird techniques, I guess. And also,
sounds good to me.
There are a couple of weapons that are like have very specific ranges to them.
Yeah, which are sometimes a bit hard to judge.
Well, that is one of its problems, maybe, on that aspect. That's one of the parts where it does get more complicated. Like it doesn't give you very good feedback on like. I
really struggled with McCree, the Western guy, trying to figure out how to best use his guns.
Well, I mean, he's
just a gun. He's a bit like Gunspy, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, he just has like he's one of the cases where fall off is a major issue. Like a lot of the other guns at range, you're just spewing because you're just always spewing bullets, whereas his one you can't fire quite as quickly, and the fall off is quite severe once you start going into long range because he's not meant to be a long range character.
Oh, does he actually have bullet drop?
Yeah, well, not fall off, like damage.
Oh, damage fall off. Okay, yeah.
And then so like because his guns are relatively accurate, like it's single shots and they're quite precise most of the time. That makes you think that you can shoot people at range, but he's not actually meant to be able to do that, which is why there's so much damage fall off.
Right, that's where I've been cocking up.
I mean, you can.
That's completely where I've been cocking up with McCree. Then
you can still pick people off. That's still a thing you can do with him.
It's just his gun, like in normal mode, fires so slowly.
Well, that's why he has the rapid fire.
Yeah, but it does give. You're right, and then it does give you that impression that you should be able to, pick people off. Yeah. That explains quite a bit actually about why I've been struggling. I think that game's pretty awesome. The one thing I definitely will agree with you on is I think the rounds need to be longer.
Well,
there needs to be on the King of the Hill games, especially the payload maps, fine, whatever.
Yeah, I mean they have 3 stages or whatever.
Yeah,
not as long stages as Team Fortress as payload maps, but still stages.
They're fine. They're a good length. I think the King of the Hill should last a bit longer. It never quite feels like enough. Like if one team gets a real stranglehold on a point, it doesn't necessarily feel long enough to
make a comeback.
Or a good comeback. I've seen it happen, don't get me wrong, but it's just not as viable. The start is so important.
Well, and that's exacerbated as well by the size of the maps because it's so small and confined, and you're really only fighting on the point,
which is kind of fine in itself.
I'm
okay with that.
There's not really much to the tactics of it. You know where you're going to have we were playing that Nepal level where the point is in a covered barn thing, and there's only 2 ways into it. There's a door at either end. It's you know what's going to happen there. You're going to be running into this barn, and there's going to be people sitting in the corners and shooting.
Yeah, I do have. In fact, the King of the Hill levels are more problematic than the payload levels in that respect. There's more choke points than necessary on your route to the point.
Yeah.
So you can really...
There's only one way in a lot of the time.
I think there needs to be... I think that needs a bit of work in places. And there's that factory level in particular where the second half of it is kind of garbage.
But that's not even King of the Hill, that's
a capture point level, but it's still kind of... that whole second half of that level is kind of garbage.
Because there's only
the routes are real confusing.
There are technically 3 ways into that, the right and the left and the middle.
Yeah, but they're just really confusingly laid out, and and again, I don't like that level.
In a lot of levels, there's just that problem with weird dead ends that are actually designed for different characters who have maneuvering skills. But it's just you just run into a corner. It's this doesn't actually go anywhere because it just ends in a balcony. Which, if I was a flying character, I could do something with.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a bit of that.
Which then seems to even more limit the different routes you can take.
As certain characters, at least, yeah. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's 100% perfect, but then Team Fortress was, you could argue, was actually pretty flaky at launch.
Sure.
In many ways, until they started sorting it out. I've got high hopes for where this goes, because it's a pretty strong start. And Blizzard have a pretty good record of keeping everything supported. And they've already basically come out and said anything new we add to the game is going to be free to everyone, apart from cosmetic stuff. They're going to go down the TF model in that way.
Well, sort of.
Apart from the fact you have to buy into the game at launch, that kind of thing.
And, it's a crate unlock system. It's not a direct purchase thing.
No, yeah. Although there is a shop-ish where you can sort of buy... Well, no, it only lets you buy crates at the moment.
You can buy crates and you can get the currency from duplicates out of the crates and use the currency to buy specific things you want.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Which is...
I didn't know what the currency was for.
It's just a way to buy the specific ones that you want, if you can accrue enough of it. But the only way to get it is to get duplicates out of crates, so you better buy some more crates.
Yeah, I guess. Well, obviously I won't be doing that.
No.
Because, who does? Silly people do that.
Yep, exactly. Who cares about most of those skins?
Yeah,
because as ever,
many of them are that
90% of them are just I've moved the hue slider around.
Yeah. there's I think there's 3 types for each character, unless you bought the Origins edition, which has a few bespoke ones in it, which, to be honest, I didn't really think they were good anyway. And then, so there's only 3, but there's they're listed as 10, where there's several color swaps of each style.
Yeah.
And it's at the moment the skin scene is a little lacking, but I'm pretty sure that will expand. It depends whether or not when they do add aesthetic stuff, if it will fall into the loot system or if it will fall into pay only for this skin, that kind of thing.
Well, I don't think
I
don't think they technically have a loot system. It's you get loot crates from leveling up, but that's not really you're not getting loot crates over time because at a certain point you level up slower and slower, and you reach a level that you're at, presumably. Like, I assume that.
I thought it was an XP leveling.
Well, I assume the XP still comes from like your performance, so presumably it would be like Rocket League. There will be a point where it will just start to slow down, and then your level will be matched against other people's levels, and then you won't get as many points.
Maybe, yeah, because you just won't be beasting everyone for so long.
Or maybe I don't even know if you actually even get loot crates from leveling after a certain point, because you don't seem to get them every level.
No, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly have no idea. I wouldn't be surprised if they go that route where there's just a point where aesthetics, like the loot just stops or it is so rare.
Yeah. But then, that would be not like Team Fortress, where it's just a time thing.
Yeah. You can get this much stuff over this much time. Put more time in if you want more stuff.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Good luck getting the thing you want, though, because there's so many things.
Yeah. You want a hat? Good, no freaking chance. I'm probably going to play that game.
Sounds encouraging.
I know people that are in. Like, I think Kippers is in.
Well, Kippers is in with everything. That doesn't tell you anything. That also doesn't tell you how long he's going to be in for.
No, that's also
He could be done in a week.
He is a bit of a video game purchasing whore at the moment. But I do know others that are in it. Like some Cambridge people are in, so I might see what they're like in the FPS realm. I like it.
It's exciting to have a new game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I'm excited for new games that haven't come out yet. So, like, I'm totally ready to play new games, just not any of the ones that have come out yet.
Just any that you have. Yeah.
What are you looking forward to?
Why don't you go play XCOM 2?
Well, because I didn't buy it, I guess. I was waiting for it to get patched and stuff. And now it's been so long, I'm just like, well, now I'll just wait for a sale.
All right, fine. Yeah. Summer sale can't be that far away, though.
Yeah, presumably.
I don't know what I would be playing next after Metal Gear. No, maybe
apparently the next
2.
thing I'm going to be playing is Mirror's Edge, because that's about to come out.
So. It is about to come out. Yeah.
See how that goes. It might be weird because I've never really managed to play any open world game. Like I never did any of Assassin's Creed, obviously.
Red Faction, that's sort of open world, right?
I guess that was the closest you could say. But that was
Just Cause.
Yeah, but I didn't actually play that much Just Cause. That was the thing. Like, Just Cause 3 I stopped. Just Cause 2 I played quite a lot of, but that was only because that was another podcast game, because it was so mindless. In Just Cause 2, it was really easy to just be like, I just need to destroy everything red in the vicinity.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I've never played an open world game where you collect shit like collectibles, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So
Skyrim.
That doesn't count. You're not collecting collectibles in Skyrim, you're collecting locations.
That's definitely an open world game, though. As is Fallout.
Also, but it doesn't have the open world bullshit like Assassin's Creed collecting everything.
Doesn't have to have open world bullshit to be an open world game.
But that's what I'm talking about, because that's why everyone's pissed about Mirror's Edge now, is because it's like, it's got the open world bullshit in.
Oh no, okay.
It's got the collect random things from places.
Has it got towers to climb to unlock bits of the map?
You'd have to assume so, because you're on top of fucking buildings where there's a lot of tower-like things.
That's mostly Assassin's Creed that does that. You can't find all the leaves and the chests or whatever they are.
Or any Ubisoft game.
Yeah, it's not that widespread, I don't think. Is it?
Well, I feel like even stuff like The Witcher is in the same vein at a certain point.
I don't know.
I mean, it's closer to Skyrim, but it does still have some amount of and like Far Cry and stuff, obviously, is the classic other example of Far Cry Assassin's Creed.
But Far Cry doesn't even do it that much, and that's a Ubisoft game, right? I mean, I played Far Cry 3, and it didn't have that much, like...
Yeah, it's a little outside the Ubisoft pattern.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's the real question about Mirror's Edge, is like...
How much of this crap is in there?
Well, how much of it is there, and how well does it actually translate into an open world game? Rather than a linear set of levels that are very tightly designed for the purpose of running through.
I've got to be, that is my biggest concern almost, is like just that the open world stuff is going to ruin a lot of what that game was originally based on, which is the flow.
The most important question, how fucked is the combat?
Yeah, and how much of it are they going to force you to do? I mean, the fact that there's no guns, right?
I think there might be some kind of projectile weaponry, maybe not guns.
I don't think you use guns. Yeah,
that too.
Yeah, unlike in the first game where you pick guns up, that was really dumb.
Yeah.
But then you throw them away. Never use guns.
Yeah.
No gun run.
Disarm, but just throw it away.
But it's better if that's
fucking underground car park. You're fucked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. None of that though.
I did try and go for that achievement, but didn't quite make it. Like the no gun run, it was so hard not to.
It's because of that underground car park. That was the one bit where once I got there, I was like, this achievement is fucked. I'm never going to be able to get past this. Eventually I did. Through extreme dodginess.
I think it was the bit in the Bulldog factory I couldn't figure out how to do without getting shot, because it was such an open area.
I don't think the Bulldog factory was that open. Wasn't that one where there was it was just loads of shelves with crates on?
Yeah, but it was like
a warehouse.
It was a big warehouse. Like people could see you from everywhere.
Sure, but I thought the crates kind of obscured the view quite a lot. I don't really remember. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. We're talking early Xbox life cycle, really. I think the first Mirror's Edge came out around about the time the first NXE happened. It's an old game. I really, really hope the new one's good, and I hope they do some stuff to I actually hope it controls in a different way.
How much different?
I don't know, because I don't know how to make that control work.
Well, I think it worked.
It worked okay. It was a bit clumsy, and it was a little too easy to do what you didn't intend. Was my problem with the last control scheme. I wanted a wall run off this wall. Oh no, actually, I've just flat climbed up it somehow.
Well, it's just an angle thing.
Yeah, I mean, it is an angle thing, but it wasn't necessarily.
It wasn't a button thing. That's
I couldn't. I found it difficult to express my intent when I want to do a complex maneuver to save a great deal of time.
But the trouble with that is that you don't want it to go in the other direction, where you just turn it into Assassin's Creed, where you just hold down a button and it goes.
Oh, absolutely! No, you definitely don't want that. That is not what that game should be about.
So there's going to be a weird. And also, I was wondering whether I might be tempted to try and play this one with a controller instead of keyboard. Because theoretically, the controller, even in the original, should have worked better.
I played on controller; it was fine.
Yeah, because it's you don't need to aim particularly.
No, it was the momentum, and the feeling of momentum is almost better on a controller. Really.
And in general, with the controller button layout, you generally have better access to pressing more buttons at once or quickly in succession than you do with a keyboard, having to move your fingers around off the movement buttons.
And I think they modelled the sort of up down mechanic to just bumper and trigger. Yeah. That was great. Good choice.
So I don't know how that'll turn out. It'll be one of those things where you just try it and you'll know fairly immediately.
Yeah.
It's like Rocket League. Try that on the keyboard and you know that's not going to be good. Put that on the controller.
Yeah. Yeah, some games you just know. Fight sticks, for instance.
So, and apart from that, which comes out on apparently the 7th, I think.
Might be out in America already. I think they said it was end of May. Maybe they've shifted it slightly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, that comes out on the 7th, and I was looking forward to No Man's Sky on the 20-something, but that's going to be August now, so fuck.
Yeah.
For my birthday, I suppose.
Yeah.
See if I can scam someone to get that for me.
Time. Hint.
I doubt it, though. It's way too expensive.
It won't be. It'll be
it'll be
35?
Regular game price. That's way too expensive for a shitty birthday thing. And also, that might, when's the Steam sale going to happen? Presumably before that.
Yeah, June, July-ish. Probably July.
Maybe you'll get XCOM in the sale.
Yes, maybe. But maybe I'll end up buying that anyway in the sale.
Risky. But yeah, buying anything during the sale is always a risky venture, right? Because it has happened where I've just ended up with a copy of something. It's like, oh, I can't give that to them now.
Yeah, that's the problem.
What do I do with this?
So yeah, there's that. What else have we been playing? Rob hasn't been playing anything because he's been in Japan. He's played a small amount of Zelda, I noticed.
I have been playing Zelda, on my DS. I played Link Between Worlds, is it?
Yep.
Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Were you playing that on the flight?
Yeah, bit of flight, bit of downtime, hotels, stuff like that. I've just got. I'm not far past the point where you can start moving between the worlds.
You've actually got the actual ability. That's
yeah, I've got the first of the 7 sages.
Yeah.
From low rule, out of the thief dungeon.
Yeah.
It's like that game is pretty great. Apart from, I never quite. I mean, I know this is part of the game and stuff like that, but I find actually just traversing the world a bit of a pain in the ass. Like, just like when I'm trying to, like now when I'm trying to get to the remaining 6 X's and I'm sort of going around one of the going, well, how the bloody hell do I get in here?
And
I don't know where and I can't see any particular route.
The 100% always answer is go to the other world and find the obvious route, because that's how that game works. You can walk up to where you think an entrance is, and it's just a blank wall, and it's like, oh well, if I go to the other world, look, there's an opening.
But I've been trying that to get to what I think is the sand area.
Yeah, that's entirely shut off.
Was it the bottom left of the map? And I just haven't found an entrance. It's like, do I need to do that one last? Is that one of the ones I just can't get to? Like when I've got this ability?
No, I think you can. I think the problem is that actually I don't know, because the amount of time you can spend on the wall is based on your magic bar, right? And I think that you do get upgrades to that, so there is potential that you might not be able to go far enough before your magic runs out to get to where you need to go to transfer. I'm not actually sure of that.
I just have to go somewhere else, because I've wasted enough time just trying to figure out how to get in there, and it's just like, well, fuck this, it's just kind of. It's not I find some. But it's no, I bet it's not, but I just haven't found it, and it's just like I find it a little bit frustrating. And the rental system has got a little annoying. So there's been a couple of bosses where it's just been where I feel like I've sort of died because I didn't quite know what I was doing or what has been happening, or I went into the boss fight already quite injured, and it's like I've got no way of actually recovering before I do this, and you lose. There's
always
your stuff.
A fairy before the boss fight. Always find the fairy before the boss.
Okay, well I haven't.
You just have to always. It's like when you see the boss door, there will be 4 pots directly outside in the room, and then you break those, and there's always a fairy in there. That's how Zelda works.
I swear that hasn't happened. I swear I haven't seen a single fairy in front of a boss door.
And always have a fairy in a bottle anyway, because that's also just how Zelda works.
Yeah, I normally have bees.
Why would you have bees?
I know. You
need them one time as a part of a trading puzzle.
Yeah. That's right at the start, pretty much. Is that what you think? You think the golden bee, or is there more?
Well, I don't know if you need any more after the golden bee. I seem to remember that does involve a couple of steps.
See, I thought it would be a bit like the Skulltula tokens or something. It's like, you just got to find all the bees.
No.
So I've just been collecting the bees and giving them to the dude.
Well, I guess that's a way to make money, right?
Yeah. You get 50 for each. But...
So you can buy out the hiring quicker. That's important. It's really all you need to spend money on is just permanently have access to all
I don't think I have access to that option yet.
No, I think you've probably got one more dungeon before that unlocks.
Yeah, because I do find that annoying, where he takes his stuff away and you go back to the store to re-rent it, and it's...
Well, it's just web of veins. Not that
Yeah, I know, but it isn't. It's an unnecessary slowdown. It's the thing that I have been berating Nintendo a lot about recently. It's just anything that slows me down from just getting straight back into it is just annoying. And this is a big one of those that I actually have to be actively involved with. It's not just waiting for it. I've actually got to be involved and do stuff to get back to where I was. So that's quite annoying.
Or you could
especially on a handheld game.
Or you could probably just reload a save. That would probably actually be quick.
Yeah, that might be actually. Yeah. I hadn't really thought of that.
I'm not sure how it actually works with does it still immediately pop up a save thing when you die, or does it not?
No, I think it's I don't know what it gives you 2 options. I just can't remember what they are. I think one of them is respawn where you are, but obviously you don't have your stuff. And one of them is go out of the dungeon or go back to your house or go somewhere. And
would that also save at some point? Is the other question.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe you can just reset it, and that would be quicker. And also, I don't remember what the save restrictions are on if you save in a dungeon, does it save where you are in the dungeon, or does it save you at the entrance in the classic style? I don't actually remember, because I never did that. Because, once I started...
There's never really save points in the dungeon, is there?
Well, there's no such thing as save points, really. I mean, the web of veins count. I guess.
Yeah, there's save points.
But not anywhere else. Just like, you just save. Because it has that quick save, right? Is that game? I don't even remember. I'm well confused about which.
As far as I'm aware, this only has the weather vanes, and every now and then some character conversations would be like, saving right now would be a good idea. Do you want me to do that for you? As far as I know, there's no other way to save.
I thought it had some kind of quick save, but I get confused about the 3DS games because sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. And it's really annoying.
I mean, obviously...
And sometimes the quick save is a weird, like, temporary slot.
Yeah, right, yeah.
It's like Pokemon.
The Mario ones do that, right? Unless you reach a... like the sort of temporary saves, unless you reach... you have to tell the game to save, but that save is deleted upon you reactivating the game.
Yeah.
Or something weird, and it only actually properly saves when you reach, like, the next castle.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It's a weird system. Completely unnecessary in a Mario game.
Well, yes. In a Mario game especially.
Yeah, no, as far as I'm aware, the Zelda one just has the veins. Or at least if there is another system, it hasn't told me about it. I'm not sure it's like Games Radar Game of the Year or GameSpot Game of the Year type material, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And, turning the 3D on is actually quite nice in that game.
Yeah.
Like, it's... it proved useful while I was traveling. I guess I would try and stick with it because I kind of got a bit bored of Layton.
Sure.
Yeah. I think that's kind of really all I haven't been doing a lot, obviously. There's been that, there's been Overwatch, played a bit more Pinball Arcade. Zach showed me the credits in The Witness.
Yes, you got to the end of that. Haven't got that second achievement yet.
I might fucking give up on that.
Come on, you were so close.
I get to the rotation puzzles at the end of the challenge.
Yeah.
In The Witness, and I just cannot do them. And also, I think that whole sequence feels kind of bullshit anyway. Like, I don't like the time pressure. I don't like the fact that it can generate absurdly hard puzzles occasionally, and that screws up your run. Like, there are just some layouts it can make where it's just like, what? Like,
well, the point where it does that is only like halfway through, so you just go restart.
Oh no, some of the early ones it could do that.
Well, then it's even earlier, and you can just restart.
Yeah, I know, but it gets real frustrating after a while. It's just like, oh come on, seriously, just give me a good run. Like, it doesn't feel like, it feels like I'm being beaten by random more than it does I'm being beaten by, like, because the algorithms just occasionally generate hard puzzles, right? Like, sometimes that's unavoidable, and sometimes that will be just because of the way my brain is processing those puzzles, right?
You just don't see it.
Yeah. But, that royally front. Admittedly, the last time I tried it, I was very jet lagged.
Yes, that probably did help.
But that's also the furthest I got.
Okay.
Like, was what was in that state. And I think you also have to get lucky a little bit with the layout of the barrier room. And yes, I know there's a clue to the barrier room.
What's lucky about it?
Like, being able to make your way through it and to spot where the actual triangle puzzles are. And I've been screwed up by incredibly hard triangle puzzles on that route as well.
Yeah, well, those kind of can suck.
Yeah.
But the route is, like, really obvious. I mean, the trick is to just, like, use your phone to take a picture. Because obviously you can't save it on the Steam screen.
Seconds.
It's much quicker. You can't. The game doesn't pause. That's the other trick with it. Like, as I discovered when I was trying to do it, I was like, oh, I just use a Steam screenshot. But if you go into the Steam overlay while you're in that sequence, it resets.
Oh yeah. It pauses the game. Yeah, and if you pause the game, it knows you've done it, so you can't cheat.
So I was like, oh fuck this! I'll just use my phone then. So problem solved.
Yeah. Maybe I should try and do that.
And sometimes, if you're lucky, it does just generate a nice layout in there, and it's easy enough to remember.
Yeah, I've had some real nice ones, but those rotation puzzles I just can't do. They're too hard. There's too much for you to cover, and the fact that you're dealing with two lines, one of which you can't see because of the angle. It's like I just can't do it. It's not fun.
I don't remember.
Like, I've had the rest of the game I've thought was pretty great, but just this is unfun. Like, extremely not fun.
I don't remember the rotation puzzles being the hardest part of that, which is weird. Maybe I just got lucky and it spawned some that I did really easily the first couple of times.
So many of those little hexagons you've got to hit. So many. Awkwardly placed little bastards. The Witness. Awkwardly placed little bastards.
And we did the second ending, the real ending.
The second, which is weird as.
Yep, it's hella weird, as I said at the time. And I had a revelation.
You know what? It reminds me a little bit of Better Than Life.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
The Red Dwarf.
Minor spoiler.
But I had a revelation of something that makes that ending even more like mind blowing in a kind of like it was there all along the way. Because you remember, I think I said it ages ago.
Oh, this is gonna sound so great on podcast, by the way. Like, how are you going to explain this without going?
It's not that difficult. But so you remember ages ago, when I first started playing Witness, I mentioned that some people had accidentally got into the credits right at the start of the game because it's just there.
Oh, right, yeah, okay. I guess you could figure that out. Yeah,
yeah. So if you just did that thing that puts
just because of the way they happened to solve that one particular puzzle right at the start.
Yeah, if you see it,
the problem is, do they do that and think, oh, is that all the game was?
Well, yeah, I did see someone say that, but obviously, you only had to go on a forum to find out that was the case.
Yeah.
But the trick about why it's incredibly amazing is so the laser gate that you go through right at the start. There's the panel and you have to open the covers and then you solve the thing and it opens the laser gate.
Yep.
But what I realised that is super clever about that is. In a lot of other cases throughout the game, when you solve a puzzle wrong, it turns off the panel.
Sort of, yeah, sometimes.
Well, if it's trying to prevent you doing trial and error.
Yeah.
And I realised that, that's what that puzzle actually does at the start. You solve it wrong, and it turns the thing off, and if you solve it right, it turns it on. Because that's how you turn it back on at the end.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
That's really ingenious and completely ridiculous that you would have thought that far ahead.
I see what you mean. Sort of subtle callback.
Yeah. It's there all along.
Yeah.
Spoilers, I guess, but not really, because we didn't really say anything.
There's one puzzle I don't understand in that area, but I'll come back to you on that one.
Yeah.
I'll have to talk to you specifically about that one.
I know exactly what one it was, because I think we mentioned it briefly while we were there on the way to getting to the credits.
Yeah, kind of. Anyway,
so yeah,
The Witness. I did a bit more of that.
You're nearly done, I presume. If you have a few more tries at the challenge, you're not even going to try and clear everything up.
No, I don't think I can be asked to do that. I know of a few places where I know I've missed things, but it doesn't really matter, does it?
No.
It's and I know where they are. I just can't be bothered to do them, that kind of thing.
But some of them have awesome solutions. I guess that's the thing that I should do if you're when you're done. It's which ones did you miss that are actually something cool?
Well, because
that's why you miss them.
It's one of those things I'll probably leave installed because it does work. As I said before, it does kind of work as a nice short-time game sometimes.
Sure,
to just sort of just wander about and not really have any. Because I've got a lot of, I guess what you would call rapid, high-pressure games on at the moment.
Okay. I
haven't really got many sort of slow Red Dead Redemption meandering games on, and that's kind of what The Witness has filled.
Yeah. But at a certain point, you just won't be doing anything. It might be too much of not doing.
Yeah, just walking around going, well, what the fuck am I doing? That kind of thing. I'm sure there was something else. I'm having that horrible feeling that I have every week where it's I'm sure there was something else I really should have spoken about.
And we'll remember it immediately after the podcast.
Yeah.
As is standard.
You got anything else, though, Zoggle?
Well, I more or less only fucking played Yet More Factorio.
Oh my god.
It's still going on. I haven't played it as much. I've it's been another one of those weeks or two where it's just what have I been doing? I don't seem to have been doing virtually as much of anything as I should have been. So that was a bit weird. But I have got in there and continued to play that ridiculous mod that makes everything unnecessarily complicated. Well, not unnecessary. Necessarily complicated, almost. It's awesome, but it's got it. I think what the thing that made me think, wow, this is kind of ridiculous, is it's getting to the point where if I zoom out all the way, the game actually starts to run worse. There's so much shit that it's now it's actually starting to impact performance. Which in that game is kind of surprising because, it runs amazingly and it's not that complicated a game, like visually or anything. It's not a high...
I guess it doesn't have LOD things.
No.
So I guess you just see everything.
It's like, as when there's that many sprites, essentially.
Yeah.
It's like, and now it's starting to slow down.
Yeah.
I haven't got to the point where it's actually lagging. It's like, it's a frame rate. It's not a game problem yet.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I mean, apparently, people often say that, like, I've got to a point in this factory where it's literally lagging because there's too many calculations of moving shit on conveyors and all that stuff. And robots are obviously a major problem of lag because they're direct paths. It's having to calculate the pathfinding and like where to put everything inside the system.
Sure.
But I very rarely use robots anyway, so that's never been a problem for me. Because I think the robots are cheap.
The easy mode.
Yeah, it's like you just have one chest where the chest says bring me this shit, and you have another chest where you put the shit that it wants to bring, and the robots put it from one to the other directly with nothing in the way. Like, what's the challenge in that? The challenge is building an intricate network of conveyor belts to get the right stuff to go to the right place.
I like your style.
And that has been like one of the major like time-consuming elements of building this ridiculous modded factory. Is just like there's so many goddamn different resources where this is essentially the third time I've started over in this mod is the one that I've been continuing on with the most. And because I knew what was coming better each time, I made better versions of this same idea. But in this one, it's just like, you basically just have a solid 15 tile wide conveyor belt road that just has all the major resources on it running through the middle of the base, and you just branch off. But you have to leave so much space. You have to plan so far ahead to be like, how many resources exactly are there that I need to put on this main belt road? And then you have to make sure that you leave enough space to ensure that you can do that at some point in the future when those resources become relevant. Because otherwise you have to move shit around all the time, and that it takes even longer to have to disassemble parts of your factory and then just shift it like 10 tiles upwards or something.
The belts.
Yep, the belts. And even then, originally I was thinking I was just going to have everything on this one main belt road, like either side of it. But it came to the point where I was like, no, this is too much. I actually need to have another version of that belt road further up and have a parallel one to fit even more resources on it. So yeah, that was ridiculous. And that's probably why it gets laggy when you zoom out, because there's a lot of items on those belts. This is a solid wall of items for 15 tiles deep.
So many belts.
Yep.
It's like a Final Fantasy character design.
certain Final Fantasy character design. Yep, Factorio. I still haven't got back into multiplayer, which is I kind of still want to, even though I've been playing pretty much nothing but
Backpack.
Factorio.
Backpack.
Even though I've been pretty much playing nothing but it.
What's funny about that?
It involves the word but. That's all Rob needs.
The fact you stopped and looked at me as if like but
it's because I knew. I knew all I'd have to do is say it, and then Rob would find it entertaining.
I didn't really mind up to the point where you just stopped and was just like, "Pat it."
But yeah, I'd still totally play that in multiplayer if the other person who wants to play multiplayer with me would actually do it.
Sure.
But I think they're busy with Overwatch now, of course.
Of course. Much more.
It's hard to tell because it's not on Steam, so I can't tell. I can't sneakily detect what they're playing.
Yeah.
I can only tell that they're online.
I did notice there is one sort of weird quirk with the Battle.net launcher on my system, that it doesn't create its own icon anywhere. If I wanted to just launch the Battle.net launcher, it hasn't made like a start menu shortcut or any kind of way to actually get to it.
Well, that's good. Don't want it cluttering up shit with that. I just want.
Oh, but I like.
If I want to make a shortcut, I'll make a shortcut.
But I like doing the thing where I press the Windows key and type shit in.
Yeah.
That's how I do everything, and it's, it makes an Overwatch shortcut, which will
which is weird in itself because it's like you are directly running a thing that has to open the launcher anyway.
It just makes the launch. It literally does just open the launcher.
like running an Origin or a Steam game, you can sometimes have them work like that.
Yeah, so I've got the launcher installed, but it's just like if I actually wanted to launch the launcher like Steam, like on its own, I've got to go find the exe at the moment. Like, I'll make my own. I just thought that was weird, right? Surely that thing should just make a shortcut to itself.
I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe they still don't consider it as much of a separate thing as because it is like a Steam overlay at a certain point. It's meant to sit on top of the game.
Yeah, to a point.
I mean, maybe they don't necessarily think of it entirely as a separate thing.
No, I mean it's got a good downloader in it, and it's got a you can link Diablo and Hearthstone and things to it, and but it's not. I think for a lot of maybe for some of those games, it isn't a necessity. I'm not even sure it has StarCraft in it. I don't know.
I don't know. It definitely has Warcraft, so that's you can have it
maybe
through there.
Oh, what World of Warcraft?
Yes, that's what I meant.
But,
don't think it has any of the old
Warcraft 3.
That would be kind of awesome though if it did. I mean, at this point, have we not reached the age where you could conceivably like have Warcraft 1 running in an overlay window that you could pop up between loads or something?
Probably.
Play an entirely separate game over your other game while you're waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, probably load instantly, wouldn't it, as well? Just it'd load up instantly where you left it off as well.
Do you reckon that would have been covered by the loading games pattern?
Yeah, probably.
An overlay game that you have running as like as an app on top of the game you're currently playing.
Well, they had like puzzle games in World of Warcraft, didn't they? Like mobile games.
Yeah, but those were built into the game as part of the game. They weren't like a separate. They weren't designed to be like a loading screen thing. No. I guess is what I was like. It was like it was a time waster.
Didn't people basically say that pattern didn't actually really have many legs anyway?
Well, most patterns don't really have that many legs, let's be honest. Most of them are like so vague and general that they don't actually mean very much at all.
Yeah. I think there was something specific about this one where it just wouldn't have held up if someone had just done it. But never mind.
No one wanted to test the theory.
Well, no one's actually done it since it's been lifted, so...
No. So that's because loading isn't as much of a problem any longer.
I think it is on console.
Sure, but not like... Well, depends on the game, I guess.
Yeah.
You think about Skyrim, for example.
Alien had some pretty long loading pauses.
Yeah, but what would you have wanted to do while you were waiting for Alien to load? You wouldn't want to play a minigame, that would ruin the atmosphere.
No, you're probably right. Alien probably wouldn't be the best place for it. But...
So that's that. And
Boom.
Dan, you've been playing Metal Gear still.
Yep, Metal Gear Solid. It's a really good game. You should probably play it, Zeg.
I don't think I'm gonna ever, unless I don't know. That doesn't seem like the right kind of game for me for some reason. Even though
if you were going to play a third-person action game, which doesn't seem to be your thing at all.
Well, yeah, that is the problem. I seem to have somehow not managed to get into those.
This is one of the best ones. It's pretty damn good.
But
and
it's
also
an open world game, and it doesn't really have open world bullshit, but it is open world.
It may have some kinds of bullshit.
Yeah,
I guess
it has various types of it, but just not open world types.
It's amazing how not buggy it is. I was marveling at it.
Oh yeah, no, it's an incredibly solid game.
Yeah, it's amazing because some of the missions are like really complex, and things have to happen in this open world at exactly the right times and stuff, and people have to meet other people, and like it's amazing how little it goes wrong. Like I was, did you know those side ops where you have to there's a wandering mother base soldier who's like in a fugue state and is wandering around in a circle or whatever, right? So I played one of those yesterday, and they're really easy. You just shoot them in the head and then Fulton them basically.
Oh no, there's an even better way than that.
But I've been using D-Dog to run up and zap them.
Oh, really?
But no, I did that.
There's an even better way than that.
Okay, I did that, and the guy just disappeared. And I had to so I had to literally return to the command center and then return to the helicopter and land again to get him to respawn because he just vanished. His body wasn't there. I don't know what happened in the animation, but he just disappeared. And I was like, that's really unusual.
Through the floor, maybe.
Yeah, maybe he glitched through the floor, but that's that never happens. Like, it's amazing. I've been playing for hours, and the amount of there's not very much jank, considering how weird the game is.
I probably talked about it on podcasts if I came across any, but I'm struggling to remember of any serious cases.
Yeah, it hasn't really gone wrong. What was your crazy way of getting them then?
Use the box.
Oh yeah.
That is literally all you do. Creep up to them in the box, and for some reason he will turn around and go, "Snake?"
Oh right,
Recognizes the box.
Yeah, and then just stands there and salutes. And there you go, problem solved.
And you're done because he's like held up effectively.
Yep.
I guess. Nice. Do you ever use that
No,
hold up?
he salutes. He just no, I never. I used it once accidentally.
Yeah. It's such
It was
a
one of the
weird
early missions in the game where I popped out, like it, just wanting to tranquilize the guy.
Yeah.
And it was the guy I was trying to get, and he was like the mission objective, and he just went into hold up, and it's like, all right, awesome. I don't even need to waste my ammo on you.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
But I found it a little. I think the problem is I did try and use it legitimately, and it's just a little unpredictable.
Yeah.
It's like not everyone is going to go into that state.
I mostly grab people and then choke them out. That's my main way.
Yep.
But
or actually just trank everyone in sight was
or you can
technique.
trank everyone in sight. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to save my. It's more fun grabbing people anyway, but yeah, tranking people, it does work. Although you can't really trank people from behind if they're wearing a helmet very easily.
Yeah, so, the helmet stuff got in the way.
Yeah, but that's cool. I quite like. I've got laser sight on my gun now, so I can. It's slightly easier to get the headshots for the trank. Yeah. So I finished I got the first credit sequence.
Woohoo!
So that was cool.
So you did some of the forced combat sequences.
Yeah,
then.
I did the stupid. That mission that I predicted would be annoying was really annoying, but I did manage to develop a rocket launcher, which is all I used, and my jip because I had to jip it somehow because I was not my entire game was not lethal. Yeah. So I did develop as the best armored battle dress or whatever I could at the time, and a rocket launcher. And then my technique was run to the edge of the map so they can't surround me. And then
oh, okay.
Yeah. Also, my favorite upgrades, I think, in general, are actually the 2 mobility upgrades. Just, I was going on about the prone fast crawling, basically. That's really great for stealth. And then the next one is even faster sprinting. And at that point, you're pegging it around. And of course, there's no cooldown or anything on it. The sprint just goes forever. So you can, that's pretty good for avoiding things in general. This was the hardest part, fighting those guys at the airport or whatever. Later on, spoilers for a Metal Gear game, there's a Metal Gear. But I ran around like a headless
you see
chicken.
That thing pretty early on in the game, don't you?
Yeah. But I just ran around like a headless chicken, and it could barely touch me.
It's way less dangerous the second. Well, it's quite less dangerous the second time. Compared to the first time.
Yeah.
You see it.
Well, the first time you're trying to get the helicopter to land, and it just it follows you too quickly. So then you go, so you're running up and down this valley trying to get the helicopter to land, and it's just,
Yeah, that's one of the low points of the game.
Yeah, that was a bit
where it should
really
be a real moment.
Awesome moment.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah, they screwed that up because then the end fight or whatever with the Metal Gear, spoiler alert, obviously there is an end fight with the Metal Gear at the end of every Metal Gear game. Was not that this is actually the end or on one. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, in 4 you don't really fight a Metal Gear. No, you do. You fight 2 Metal Gears against each other, don't you?
Sort of.
Yeah. Rex versus Ray, isn't it? At the end of 4? No, not the end, but before the pre-end.
Oh yeah. It's near the end. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I just ran around and used my rocket launcher, but it was much harder to fight the skull guys or whatever. But managed to do it, and I was in a bit of a pickle, but managed to escape that. And now, I like the story stuff. It kind of only really got going at the end there, but all the stuff. It got Metal Gear-y enough.
How's that Jeep ride?
Yeah, that was cool. It was very Metal Gear-y. It was cool just to look around the world because, I know you've been playing in that world for ages, but that Afghanistan is amazing and spectacular.
Still strikes me as weird that Snake doesn't really talk during that sequence.
He's weird. He's a weirdo, this guy. Venom Snake is really strange. And, Kiefer Sutherland is phoning it in, but it doesn't really matter because he doesn't really talk.
There's not enough of him.
He doesn't really say any lines. Yeah, not that there's much to work with there, but it feels like it's deliberate because the previous Snakes, including big boss in 3 have been like really
Crazy
chatty.
talkative.
Yeah, like in a ludicrous
indeed.
way. Yeah, for like a gruff special ops guy, he's not at all, is he, Snake?
No.
He just talks your ear off, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, it repeats a lot of what he said to him, basically, with a question mark on the end.
The classic.
Yeah, he does do that, but he's pretty chatty in the first game, and then in 2, what's his stupid undercover name from Escape from New York? Pliskin, right? Iroquois Pliskin or something. I can't remember. Anyway, he chats your ear off. He's even more chatty than Raiden. Yeah. Anyway,
I never played 2 or 3 really, so I don't really know a great deal about those. But
I've sort of watched their strung together YouTube videos, which are pretty long, just to see what's going on. Like, they're mental, obviously. I mean, they're all mental, but 3 looks pretty good game wise, I think.
Yeah, I think 3 probably went too far for me. Like, I got immediately put off by all the hunger and
all those mechanics,
those survival mechanics. And it's just like, nope, not for me.
Yeah, they're a bit weird, and none of that bullshit in 5. 5 is clearly the best gameplay. I mean, it's really great.
It's most robust.
Yeah, I mean, open world stealth is just genius. I mean, Splinter Cell wishes it could do this. I'm sure. I don't know. It's really great, and so I've done that, and then of course you were talking about the kind of the remix bullshit missions that you're redoing with the new constraints on. And I sort of quite like the total stealth. I did one where the constraint is if you get spotted, you fail. But that's okay, because that's kind of how I play. That's my play style, is like total stealth, no kills if I can get that. Because there's quite a big bonus for doing that. So that's usually how I try and get the S rank, is if try and get total stealth, no kills. And the only difference with this is you fail immediately. But I managed to... I mean, it doesn't mean they can't go on alert or whatever, so they can see something suspicious.
You can do stuff to,
So that happened, but I'm getting annoyed by...
It's just outright combat status that's a fail.
Exactly. I wish that they stayed knocked out for a bit longer, because I'm having to Fulton everyone just so that they don't come back, and of course they spot Fulton. So you do a lot of knocking someone out, and then I do a lot of picking them up and then moving them somewhere out of the base and then Fultoning them just so they don't wake up. Otherwise, I'd just leave them where they were. I find that quite annoying. Even if you like trank someone, I'd have to like knock someone out, then shoot them in the head with the trank, and then hope, because once one of them wakes up, they start waking everybody else up. And then so I did that for that mission, and like I still managed to do it even though they were all waking each other up. And then that was kind of cool and fun to do, because then you've got all your equipment and stuff, and you can do. At this point, I've got the D-Dog, and he can zap people, and I've got a trank sniper rifle, and I've got the sneaking suit and the fast crawling, and it's all pretty good for my favored, which is the infiltration. The other stuff I don't really care, like blowing up X number of tanks is not really what I like about the game, or although it works.
Sort of like the other objectives, you mean, like the sort of on the missions.
Well, there was an extreme version of the one where you just have to destroy as many fighting vehicles as possible.
Yeah.
And
you've got like 10. You've got like 15 minutes. Kill as many of them as you can. Yeah.
And all I did was I grabbed a fighting vehicle already had, parked it in the road, waited for them to stop in front of it because they couldn't get past it, and then ran out behind them and filtered them. I just did that, rinse and repeat. So that was quite fun. But it's
I
not.
Didn't think of that. I was just running around with a rocket launcher and C4s, like doing it on foot, and it never really occurred to me very much during my playthrough that I could just drop in like vehicles, or I probably should have brought in like D-Walker or something like that and just Gatling to the hell out of them.
You could do. I've never used D-Walker, but I started upgrading it in case there's another. I imagine there'll be an extreme version of the stupid skulls in the airport thing again. I would have thought before the end. So
Yep.
yeah, oh yeah.
There is.
So I thought maybe D Walker will do it. I don't know.
Or I'll just cheese the extreme version. Get D Walker with a Gatling gun.
That's my plan.
Way.
Gatling gun, or should I have rockets? I don't know.
No. Definitely use the Gatling. It's way more effective.
Okay, I'll get the Gatling gun. Okay, cool. Because I can't be bothered with that, so I want to cheese that again. But one thing I did cheese was the one you were talking about, which is the subsistence version of the one with the radar dishes.
Yes.
And I totally cheesed that. Because you drop in the helicopter and then there's a guard post with just 2 guards, so you can easily get a gun. And then I found that you can actually run up behind the base. There's like on the mountain behind the base, there's a path up, and as long as you sneak past the mines there, you get a view of the whole base, including all 3 radar dishes that you have to destroy. And I just machine gun them as fast as possible while totally getting shot by sniper rifles and rocket launchers and everything. But I just machine gunned them as quick as possible and then ran the hell away, and that was it.
That's a pretty great way of doing that.
Yeah.
Because I did it I ended up doing that full stealth.
Because I started doing full stealth.
Pretty awesome.
Because I started doing full stealth and it was going well, but they woke up. I didn't get spotted, and I couldn't filter them, because if you filter them right in the middle of that base, they're going to spot that. And maybe I need to get the stupid wormhole filter or whatever to do that, but I don't know.
That doesn't really get
spotted. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I can. I think I've got to the point where if I do the right side ups, I can unlock that now. But
it's pretty useful.
Yeah, I mean, the legendary gunsmith was really good for getting for me, I need the silencer on the trank sniper rifle, and that was the way to get that, and that worked out well. But yeah, it was really annoying because I was sneaking around the base, not getting spotted, doing really well, and then they just woke up and started waking each other up and going on alert, and it's like, god damn it, I got you guys perfectly. It was a sandstorm, it was a perfect moment, and I grabbed you and knocked you out, and now you've just woken up everyone else next to you. Grr, annoying. And of course I didn't have a trank. I couldn't have tranked them because I didn't have it. I had to. Yeah. How did you manage to do that full stealth without a tranquilizer?
I don't know.
Because
I really remember. I think I just might not have just found a path by which I just didn't meet someone, or maybe I used, because you find, I think it's in the room with the transmitter,
right?
You know, sort of the base radio stuff. There's a box of grenades.
Oh, okay.
Basically, I think I found that and. Use those to destroy the things, and there was enough of a distraction going on that I think I just got lucky and just had a route around.
So did you just throw grenades at each of them and run the fuck away as fast as you could? Because obviously it's going to raise the alarm immediately.
It would raise alert. It would raise alert. It wouldn't raise combat status.
Oh,
because they only raise combat status if they can see you.
What? Even if you're blowing up their stuff?
If you throw a grenade and it explodes something.
Yeah.
They're confused by the explosion and they go check it out. But as long as they haven't seen you, you're still fine.
Ah, okay. I would have thought that would set them on alert. Okay.
Because you can do that with C4. I think I explained that in the early days of me playing it. The C4 actually proved to be a really incredible distraction technique during the early hours.
Oh, really?
Because I would go find something I'd want to blow up, like a dish, like the transmitter, like the radios or something. Set up a C4 and just sort of leave it there. Go about my business and get as far as I could, but and perhaps getting to a bit where I thought, no, you know what, this is actually going to suck to try and get through here, and then just set off the explosion,
right?
And then let the fact that we put them on alert status would disrupt the patterns,
and you could sneak part
and give me a window,
yeah, that's cool.
But you didn't go into combat status because something just exploded and they didn't know where you were. It's that's great. You can do that with grenades too, as long as they don't see you throw it.
Man, it's a really good game. It's so weird, but I don't know. I do want to. I am interested in the rest of the story stuff, just because, mainly because of Eli. I think because of who is clearly Liquid's. So
you know what, his story isn't. Again, don't get your hopes up about that one. I think that's one of the storyline. The conclusion for his storyline, I think, was one of the things that got cut.
Oh, really? Okay, because that's interesting from a Metal Gear perspective, where he comes from and what his deal is, and how he's related to the boy with the gas mask boy or whatever,
Yeah, don't get me wrong. There's more stuff on that to come, but yeah, I think that's one of the things where there's a lot of stuff missing.
Yeah, I don't know. So honestly, I'm still enjoying it, and I feel like now I'm actually reasonably good at it finally after 60 hours or whatever. So I don't think I'm going to stop just because I've seen the first.
Yeah, credits. I'm not 100% sure I was ever good at it. I just got cheesy.
I think I've got
you know what,
pretty good at the stealth.
You know what? I'm beginning to think that maybe on that subsistence missions I did just shoot dudes.
Really? Because I'm still going for,
but not in combat status. Like, just shoot a few guys, make them get worried or whatever, and like not be totally confused. Like, kill them, but just not get spotted killing them.
Right.
And slowly whittle down their numbers. I get the feeling that's what I did. You can get a rocket launcher off one of them.
Yeah, a couple of them have rocket launchers. I noticed because they were shooting them at me when I was at the top of that cliff.
Did you not get the helicopter come and just own you?
No, I didn't.
Because a helicopter spawns if you raise combat alert on that mission.
Oh, well, I must have done it so quickly that the helicopter didn't get to me. Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't have a
That's one of the reasons that's one of the reasons you definitely can't go into combat alert, because the helicopter turns up.
Right, yeah. No, it's reasonably quick. My main problem was getting shot by a sniper at the other end. If I should have gone down, and if I'd taken my time, I probably could have found the sniper and like knocked him out first. I don't know, because anyway, I managed it. Because you can't even have armor or anything because they drop you in as standard fatigues or whatever, don't they? Yeah. You can't have any equipment at all. So yeah, that was fine. Just managed to machine gun those things in time. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. And, listen to all the tapes, hear all the story. I mean, people could play that all the story is in those tapes, and it is kind of a pain. But, I mean, there are some really good, insane cutscenes that are really well animated and stuff. So I don't think it's lacking like that stuff that much. I think the difference is that
I think there's a lot of explanation in the tapes that perhaps...
Yeah.
If you don't listen to them, you might not have 100% of grasp on why the characters are doing what they're doing.
I think in previous games, it was, instead of tapes, it was a codec. So that was equally...
Yeah, a forced codec conversation.
Yeah, forced codec. So that was equally just audio, basically. But it was like in the moment, and your character was engaged in talking, rather than listening to the story after the fact, which is a bit weird.
Yeah.
So I think that's the difference, maybe. But it works okay for me.
It's all right. I think after a while it got a bit much.
I mean,
there are just so many.
There are a lot. I mean, that's one thing, isn't it? It's not forced, so like you could ignore them. You could just play the game and never listen to the tapes and not know what was going on at all. Oh, there was one thing I did want to mention was that I went along with a lot of the bullshit. Like I did enjoy the main thrust of how do I say it without spoilers? Just the disease angle and all of that stuff was really, really good. And the fact that the Metal Gear was kind of a sideshow, I liked that because,
Yeah.
But one thing about the Metal Gear...
It's weird, though, because it kind of actually made the whole main... In theory, what is the main plot, as you say, becomes kind of a weird sideshow. And then when it comes to the first credit sequence, the actual storyline of the first credit ending, you're just sort of a bit like... All right, fine. That was your intention, but then you're still using the big stompy robot for some reason. What?
Yeah, the stompy robot part of it, I quite like.
Doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. But the thing is, the stompy robots never made that much sense, in my opinion. And there was one part of it that really I thought was a step too far in terms of bullshit. Techno babble bullshit was because they always have something, right? So. This was a total aside, and it was on one of the tapes. It wasn't a part of the game, really. It was just on one of the tapes, and it was like, okay, so the armor of the Metal Gear is depleted uranium, right? Because that's good for armor, right? But it also has, like, a biological agent that can, like, refine it into weapons-grade uranium.
And make itself into a nuke.
And turn itself into a nuke. And I'm like, what are you talking about? That's so stupid. Oh my God. I mean, I don't know why it's that part that given all the other crazy bullshit that's going on. But that really, I was like, what? What are you talking about? Was it the
that
metallic?
Could work in a ridiculous way.
It's like
it's sort of before nanomachines, isn't it? This game kind of it's before that whole.
It should be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all. I mean, the kind of what's it called when something is out of time? What's it called? Anachronism. Yeah, there's a lot of anachronisms, but usually anachronisms are like things from the past in the present. But now it's like things from the future in the past. Is that?
Oh no,
you get a lot of that.
No, it works just.
It works the same.
The future and the past works. It's quite a lot, isn't it? Right? Because someone will try and make a period drama, and there'll be like a phone-in shot accident.
Right? Yeah. That counts as
That's
an
an accident, though. That's not the same.
There's quite a lot of those in
but,
this.
yeah.
I mean, the whole bipedal weapons thing is in general is insane. Like, it doesn't matter what time period they don't. That isn't really a thing, or maybe it will be, but they'll be probably more like the ones in 4 rather than the. I mean, the bipedal plus nuke doesn't make any sense. It never did.
No, of course it doesn't.
But anyway, what was I going to say?
Also, like just in general, the sort of timeline of. If you think about like the technology of Sahelanthropus in that game and what it can do, and then that's never really used again.
No. Like,
if you think of the timeline, like some of the stuff they come up with in this is like, wow, this is the first one that can do this. And it's like, so why did that never come up again?
They like buried the technology. Like the Metal Gear in Metal Gear on the MX or whatever thing doesn't look anything near as advanced as Sahelanthropus does.
No.
I mean, Sahelanthropus doesn't look that different to Metal Gear Rex. It looks a bit sort of more nimble in some ways and, stands upright a bit taller. I don't know.
Very big.
It has a giant railgun by the end of it and a radar dish. It looks exactly like Rex.
It's very big.
Anyway, yeah. It's pretty dumb. But yeah, crazy. And like even then, like the little walker gear or whatever, they're ludicrous as well if you think about it in like 1980s Angola or whatever. Like
we still haven't mastered anything walking at that point.
No, I don't know.
Let alone the little was it the Asimo robot?
Yeah, Asimo,
the walker one,
the Honda one. Yeah. But I mean, like you just get used to it. Like your suspension of disbelief, like the mixing of real world military serious stuff with total fantasy bullshit is what Metal Gear does and always has, and you just have to it's anime, you just have to kind of accept it. But there's definitely a point where I'm like, really?
Girls und Panzer.
But because like when I first brought D-Dog with me on it, this isn't even like fantasy. Like when I first brought D-Dog with me on a mission, it was like, what? I'm infiltrating this base, like I'm sneaking around and there's a dog like right behind me, like running around. Like this doesn't make any sense. And then you just forget about it after a while. He's just
really casually like being super loud and just sort of sat next to you going,
exactly. It's just a dog next to you and it's like, this is not stealthy at all. And then the Fultoning is insane.
No one seems to mind too much about a dog wearing armor.
No. Yeah, a dog in a sneaking suit. It's just like, what?
I don't think that's that surprising. It's like if you were on a military base and you saw a dog walking around in armor, you just assume it was part of your side. Because you wouldn't know.
I guess.
You'd be like, oh, that must be like some commander's dog he's brought in for today or something.
Maybe not in Afghanistan or in Zaire or Angola or wherever it is.
We've got an unaccounted armored dog in the base.
I mean, a random horse is probably the one that's weird. It's just a horse just casually walking very close to a military thing.
I don't know. In Afghanistan, you'd probably get that.
Yeah, but not very casually walking directly. Like a real horse would be like a wild horse would be a bit more.
The horse stealth is hilarious and stupid, but hilarious. It's brilliant. I mean, it's such a great game. I think it's great. Okay, I'll shut up about Metal Gear. I'll carry on playing it. But the main thrust of the story is over, I think. So I'm not.
You've still got some really good story beats.
I hope so because I'm properly into the story stuff now. But yeah, it's cool.
There's some good stuff with Emmerich and there's some good stuff with Quiet. And,
I just heard the tape about the Hal Emmerich, origin story, I guess.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's actually quite a bit to him.
Cool.
In the tapes, and
they're really horrible to him. I know he's a dick, but they're really nasty to him.
Oh no! Oh man! Yeah, you won't feel quite so bad about it later on.
No, yeah, okay, fair enough. Right, coolio. Okay,
stuff about his wife and AI and.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy, it gets kind of messed up.
Yeah, pretty messed up. Oh yeah, massive artificial intelligent pods, of course. Oh, and they predate this game, right? In terms of the chronology of the series, there was like a whole thing about that AI was in the artificial intelligence powering Metal Gear type things was in the previous game, which is set in. Well, that's set before Ground Zero, so it must be set in the early 70s, right? Is that right? What was the what was
3?
No, the one that was on
Peace Walker.
Peace Walker, that's right, Peace Walker. Yeah, that was all about AI controlled, like, weapon systems and stuff. And it's like
sort of where everything starts, isn't it? Peace Walker, like everything about the Patriots and stuff is all AI, isn't it? In the later games.
Well, Patriots is sort of in 3, I think, at the end or whatever. 3 is kind of about the Patriots, I think, and of course 2 is. But that's set way later.
And 4 is as well.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. And that's the last one chronologically. Apart from the stupid Raiden hack and slash game.
Revengeance.
I
still kind of want to play that.
Yeah, it looks fun. And it's on PC as well, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, Metal Gear. I think we've gone over by like half an hour. Is that right? So
yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. I'll take that.
I think this is a good plan. Let's repeat it next time.
Yeah, we had a lot of catching up and bullshit to cover.
Exactly.
This week,
it was a 3-weeker. So yeah, cool. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, everyone, listeners, and there will be some videos up, despite Zach's worst efforts.
I mean, I'll try and get back in the room.
But there's one that's still.
There's one in the hopper.
Yeah.
Catch you in a couple of weeks.
Do a title card for Cave Story if you didn't bother.
Well, we can. I didn't.
Yeah.
Fuck with it.
Title cards. I should say bye.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.